Beaumont.
Beaumont? Where the hell is Beaumont? Your blade, so all day in every room. Dig way down in your heart. You're burning, yearning for somebody to tell you that life ain't passing you by. Ain't passing me by. I'm trying to tell you, be willing, you don't even try.
If you'd only cut loose, whoa. Ma, where are you gonna put that stuff? I can't close the trunk. The back seat is full.
Ren, don't start. I don't want to leave any more than you do.
Yeah, right.
Look, I too wish your father hadn't left. I too wish that things could be the way they were.
Okay.
And we both wish I could be one of those strong single moms who suddenly become self-sufficient, but I'm not.
I didn't even notice that until I was watching
Please feel free to disagree.
Yeah.
We've got a 10-hour drive. I'm sure I'll think of something.
right there.
Enough to turn you around. Put your feet on the ground. Now take a hold of your soul. Oh, life keeps moving me down.
Yeah, I'm excited. I like I am in charge of it.
Everybody cut, everybody cut. Everybody cut, everybody cut. Everybody cut, everybody cut. On any Sunday here we'll be, raising our voices in harmony. One day, once our trials have ceased, we will be released.
On any Sunday, Lord, I pray, tell me exactly the words to say. Give me strength and maybe then I can reach my fellow men, so we all may rise again. Thank you, Lord. Amen. Welcome to Beaumont.
We've only been here 2 days and already Chicago seems a million miles away. But we were barely hanging on there, especially with my father gone. There's not too many places we could stay. But maybe Mom could find a job that's steady. And maybe I could stand it for a year. And maybe things won't be so bad. And maybe I won't miss my dad. And maybe we could start a new life
Start a new life here.
Have I done the right thing?
I know, I can tell.
Picking up my life, packing up the past. That's always frightening.
Have I done the right
thing?
The right thing, the right thing. Please strive to do what's right. The right thing, the right thing. Sin is a matter of black and white.
This morning we welcomed to our parish 2 new souls just arrived from Chicago. Ethel McCormick and her son, Ron, is it? Speak up, let the Lord hear your voice.
Rand McCormick.
Rand, interesting name.
Yeah,
Is it short for something?
No?
I saw it at the last meeting. And I was like,
There's rumors going round about the new kid, and everybody's talking to the news. 'Cause you know how a stranger is, and he's not dumb, he's dangerous, but either way, at least it's something new.
Now I invite you to join my wife, Vi, and our daughter Ariel in this morning's convocation. God is love. Follow him and never wrong. He has made the skies above just to light your way. Everybody!
The
I must have completely forgot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I feel terrible.
Yeah, I respond.
Yes, I did. I responded to you. But we both got some funky because when I responded, it told me in my that it kicked out that email. Yeah, because it kicked back, and even when I sent it to
Oh, no, you good.
It's something funky too.
Our business is finished. It's okay. Go right ahead.
That's what transpired, but I
You
basically
know how us women are, we buddies.
Right in.
Yeah, we do. Okay, still sign right here.
most definitely.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I read yours. I basically said you reiterated what I said.
Evening, counsel. I am well. Hope you are.
Thanks.
Well, I understand. It's a very essential position
Even sir.
for you.
It is for me.
Yes, and for them, for like today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I'm all alone again, nowhere to turn, no one to go to.
I did not. Luckily, she had already gotten. You hadn't gotten stuff signed. I mean, in fact, I'd already signed mine last meeting. So.
Now the night is near. Now I can make believe he's here. Sometimes I walk alone at night when everybody else is sleeping. I think of him and then I'm happy with the company I'm keeping. The city goes to bed and I can live inside my
Just hold this up, my son's over.
pretending he's beside me.
Hey, can I just step to the microphone?
I walk with him.
Yeah, I'll just step back.
Without him, I feel his arms around me. And when I lose my way, I close my eyes, and he has found me.
Good weekend?
Well, isn't that West Virginia?
It can't be that much.
You can stop the avalanches and races down the hill. You can try to stop the seasons, girl, but you know you never will. And you can try to stop my dancing feet, but I just cannot stand still. 'Cause the world keeps spinning round and round. My heart keeps time to the speed of sound. I was lost till I heard the drums and I found my way. 'Cause you can stop the beat ever since this whole world began. A woman found out that she shake up the man. So I'm gonna shake and shimmy at the best that I can today. 'Cause you can stop the motion of the ocean, of the sun and the sky. You can wonder if you wanna, but I never am why. And if you try to hold me down, I'm gonna spit in your eye and say that you can't stop the beat. You can't stop the river as it rushes to the sea.
I understand.
You can try to stop the hands of time, but you know it just can't be.
And if they try to stop us seaweed, I'll call the NAACP. 'Cause the world keeps spinning round and round, and my heart
Good evening. Welcome to the Mooresville Graded School District Board of Education meeting October 17th, 2023. At this time, I'd like to have a moment of silence. Thank you. In honor this month, there are obviously a lot of things going on, but in honor this month of National Bullying Prevention Month, tomorrow I believe is the day. The key message for this month is to unite for kindness, courage, and inclusion to prevent students from being bullied. And in that light, I'm going to give a quote from an individual who worked very heavily on that subject during her time as First Lady, and that would be Michelle Obama, which she quoted as saying, "We explain when somebody is cruel or acts like a bully, you do not stoop to their level. Our motto is when they go low, you go high." At this time, would like to have the Pledge of Allegiance.
At this time, I'd like to ask Amani Sturgis from Mooresville Middle School to join us on the stage to lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, approval of the agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the minutes from the September 12th meeting, September 19th, 2023 meeting, and the September 28th, 2023 meeting. I'll entertain a motion. We can approve all those together. I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I move we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Student of the month.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome back up to the stage Amani Sturgis as our Student of the Month from Mooresville Middle School. And once she gets up on the stage, we're going to read a little bit about her and why she was nominated. Our Student of the Month and Pledge Leader tonight, Amani Sturgis, 8th grade student from Mooresville Middle School. Amani was selected by Miss Fulton, math teacher at Mooresville Middle School, and here's what she had to say about Amani. Amani Sturgis is an exemplary student at Mooresville Middle School. Every morning she enters Mooresville Middle with a bright smile and a good morning for everyone she encounters. She's the epitome of the heart of a red imp model and always makes a positive impact on staff and students. Amani is honorable. She leads us all by the example she sets when making sure she presents her most genuine self and demonstrates a high moral and ethical standard. Amani is engaged. She sets high expectations for herself and her peers and always provides support when she can. Amani is accountable. She delivers her truest self academically and interpersonally by making the best decisions she can in all situations for herself and others. Amani is respectful. She shows respect in a variety of ways, including respecting the learning environment and encouraging others to make the most of their opportunities. Amani is tolerant. She is patient with her teachers and her peers and appreciates the value that every Red Imp brings every single day. Thank you, Amani, for being an excellent example of an MMS Red Imp. Please join me in congratulating Amani as our October Student of the Month.
Monty Sturgis, Mooresville Middle School, as the Student of the Month for leading the Pledge of Allegiance. Board of Education meeting, October 17th, 2023. Congratulations.
Tonight we have the honor of recognizing our Artist of the Month, Mia Zanatti. If you could come up on the stage at this time. Mia was nominated by her chorus teacher, Miss Young, and her art teacher, Miss Davis, and here's what they had to share about Mia. Mia has been a standout in chorus, singing second soprano and now is the leader in first soprano. She reads well, works hard to learn her music, and has a sweet spirit and a great attitude. She's always a pleasure to teach. She was in theater last year as well, and she was all in on her part, working to find ways to make it better and support her fellow actors. Her art teacher, Miss Davis, also recommends Mia because of the time and effort she puts into perfecting her craft. She's creative, open-minded, and willing to explore any medium or technique that is thrown her way. She has proven that she is a talented artist that is always wanting to learn and progress. In summary, we all feel as though Mia is a jewel in the arts department. Please join me in congratulating Mia as our Artist of the Month.
The Mooresville Graded School District Board of Education recognizes Mia Zanatti, Mooresville Middle School, as the Artist of the Month. Board of Education meeting, October 17th, 2023. Congratulations.
I believe Mia has some artwork to share as well. So if you want to walk this by and share with our board members, Ms. Pinnell will help you as well, I believe. There you go. We'll put this on display in our central office as well for the next month to show off to everyone in our community.
Very nice. I like that one. Seasonal. I like it.
Yeah, those are nice. Good job. Congratulations. Uh-huh.
So you sing and draw? Wow. Wow. Very nice.
Yep. We're going to keep it for a little bit, and then we'll get it back to you in about a month, okay? Thank you so much. Congratulations. Each month, we have the honor of recognizing a district employee who goes above and beyond, demonstrating a core value of our district. This month, we would like to recognize Jackie McGrath, front office receptionist at Mooresville Middle School. So Jackie, if you'd join us up on the stage. Ms. McGrath was nominated by Mr. Kosel, principal of Mooresville Middle School, for her work to demonstrate authentic relationships as part of her work. Here's what they had to share about Ms. McGrath. Ms. McGrath is the embodiment of MMS staff togetherness, sacrifice for children, and our school motto of all heart. She welcomes parents and students alike when they enter or call the MMS office, helping to answer their questions and promptly getting them connected with staff that can help them. She took on a leadership role this past summer at Mooresville Middle School on the campus beautification project, doing landscape projects such as pruning trees, weeding sidewalks, shredding mulch, and repainting outdoor railings. During the year, she assists with testing, helping our assistant principals and teachers have the information and supplies they needed for the NC check-ins, exact path, or end-of-grade tests. And throughout all of that, she is kind and generous with everyone, and she bends over backwards to help out a fellow Red Imp staff member. Every front office should have a Jackie McGrath. Thank you for all that you do. Please join me in congratulating Ms. McGrath as our October ABCD Award winner.
And I can testify to the hard work this summer because I had the pleasure of shoveling some mulch with her, and she did a great job. So, the Mooresville Graded School District Board of Education recognizes Jacqueline McGrath for going above and beyond the call of duty. Jackie McGrath for going above and beyond the call of duty, October 2023. Congratulations.
All right, next up on our agenda, I believe we have our spotlight from Mooresville Middle School. So board members, if you want to come down to the front, and Mooresville Middle will get set up.
Good evening, Mr. Whitfield, Dr. Gardner, members of the board. I'm taking a little bit from Mr. Whitfield, and I'm starting today with a quote from Teddy Roosevelt, one of our famous presidents. People don't know or don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's kind of the basis for what we did this year at Mooresville Middle School with implementing Capturing Kids' Hearts, and we wanted to share with you how that's going so far. This is a major part of our school improvement plan this year. So what is Capturing Kids' Hearts? Well, it's a whole school training designed to equip teachers, coaches, administrators, and district leaders with transformational processes focused on cultivating relational capacity, strengthening trust between teachers and students, improving school culture, building self-managing classrooms, creating accountability, improving academic performance, and fostering trauma-informed care. Flip Flippin, it's really his name, the founder of Capturing Kids' Hearts, says, if you have a child's heart, you have a child's mind. And for some of the goals we have as a low-performing school at MMS, this right here establishes the culture that we need the building blocks to move forward. The first step in that was this summer we did CKH1 training. The whole staff did this. 87% of our staff currently has undergone CKH1 training. We're looking to get above 90 by the end of the year. In July 2023, MMS and Selma Burke Middle School, the staff members attended CKH1 training for 2 days in July. That training gave our staff the building blocks to implement CKH. We had a CKH trainer. The Charles Mack Center was used. It was a fantastic 2-day event that brought our staff closer together and established norms that we can all follow. We got a wonderful CKH1 training book that we've used frequently in meetings throughout the year. 5 key indicators of CKH1 training are fewer discipline referrals, improved attendance, higher student achievement, lower dropout rates, and higher teacher satisfaction. We wanted to share with you how we're doing on those things so far. The Excel model is used for CKH1 training. It stands for Engage, Explore, it's an X, Communication, Empower, and Launch. We've decided this year to really focus on 2 of the 5 strategies to really get those solid and down pat before we build in future years. So we're building on engage and explore this year. What does that look like? Well, actually, we'll get there in a second. Some additional CKH support we have this year. Process champion training. On the required workday, September 5th, we chose 15 staff members to undergo further training in capturing kids' heart strategies. To see how things were going so far, what additional training and support they need, share some best practices with each other. So 15 of our teachers are CKH process champions that are going to be staff leaders within our school. We also have traction days with a CKH strategist. Her name is Jamila McBride. She came to Mooresville Middle and Selma Burke Middle to visit to see how things were going, and she conferenced with the principals and teachers to hear what their thoughts so far. She'll be visiting throughout the year. We have CKH Zoom principal huddles with nationwide principals that are undergoing CKH training, along with Ms. McBride and other CKH leaders. We had one in September and October so far. It's a monthly thing. And Angelo Delasanti, who is a former MGSD employee, he works for CKH right now, and he's our leadership solutions strategist. He's done site visits at our school, and he is offered to lead some staff training at a staff meeting in future months. So we talked about how we're doing explore and engage as our 2 big focuses of the Excel model this year. What does that look like? Well, one, it's greeting each student. Every day, every student deserves a fresh start, a warm greeting, and a temperature check to see how they're doing before they come into the classroom. We encourage our teachers to either do a handshake, a fist bump, a warm greeting, something to welcome every student every single day. Not just in the morning at 7:55, but between classes as well. A social contract is developed within the first couple weeks of school between the students and the teachers. On the social contract, that's agreed upon behavior of what's going to work in the classroom, both teacher to student, student to student, student to teacher. The 3 big things from Capturing Kids' Hearts you must have are effort, listening, and no put-downs. The rest, which you'll see up there, the rest are developed by the students. So the students say, how are we going to treat each other in this room? How are we going to treat this space? You'll see that they came up with words like empathy, respectful, tolerant, patience. Those came from students, and then they signed the contract, and teachers refer to that throughout the class. Good things is a practice we use daily at Mooresville Middle School. We use it before staff meetings, school improvement meetings, but also at the beginning of most classes, just to take 1 or 2 minutes to see what good things are happening in students' lives. That builds relational capacity with each other, gets our kids to know each other a little better. It helps the students to know their teacher and the teacher to know the students as well. Sharing some positivity, even for 1 or 2 minutes on a daily basis, helps with that. Affirmations is something that is really taking traction at Mooresville Middle. You'll see the students up there writing affirmations to each other, which they deliver in mailboxes in certain classrooms, and about once a week, the teacher will deliver the affirmations to students. I've gotten some affirmations as well, and that really makes your day when a student says, hey, I appreciate the warm greeting or the music you play when kids come to the building. It makes you feel like you're doing a good job. The staff affirmations chart down there is being used as well. We want our staff members to tell their colleagues, their peers, what is really making a difference in their lives and how are they feeling empowered because of our staff. Here's a student perspective of the good things and affirmations. This is a 7th grade student at our school.
Affirmations are good things that people say about you written in text, so you don't have to be embarrassed and say it to their face.
And what about good things?
Good things, I like sharing good things because you can share with people that you're having a good time, and if they're down, they can be like, oh wow, my friend's having a good day, so that's good.
The students have really bought into those 2 processes, and I think that's helped our school culture immensely. What's the impact so far? Well, as some of the Capturing Kids' Hearts strategies look for, attendance, discipline, and culture and climate, we wanted to share with you some positives so far. Attendance so far in Q1 is up over last year. We were at 92.5% average daily attendance for Q1, and now we're at 95.1%. More students are coming to school. There's a variety of factors there, but this is certainly one of them. If you want to come to school, you're going to try to be there. Our discipline referrals are down 60%, office referrals, from this time last year. The minor incidents are down 69%. Now, yes, we did split schools. That absolutely has a factor. But we didn't drop 60% of our students, right? So I think that we still are showing some positive traction because of this program. And then culture and climate. We recently did student panorama surveys in September, and we saw a 4% rise since the spring. This is from students in classroom rigorous expectations from teachers. They said 2% was better from the spring in student-teacher relationships, and then 70% positive for classroom climate and safety. The climate last spring was 68, but the safety was 33. So that's a major difference in students feeling safe and empowered and connected to their teachers at Morrisville Middle. I also brought along two of my wonderful process champions here, Mr. Fulton, who teaches 7th grade ELA and social studies, and Miss Roseman, who teaches 6th grade ELA and social studies, and they wanted to share with you a couple things they're using in their classrooms to emphasize capturing kids' hearts.
Good evening. I have had the great pleasure to participate in Capturing Kids' Hearts training twice as an educator in MGSD. Once as a beginning teacher nearly 13 years ago, and again most recently for this school year. Our most recent training gave my team the opportunity to focus on incorporating additional tools in the classroom. At the beginning of the year, students build social contracts for our classroom, agreements on how we will treat each other and how we expect to be treated. Keeping social contracts alive throughout the school year has often been a challenge in previous years. This year, we empowered our students to take ownership of our classroom social contracts by incorporating social contract raters for each class. 2 students rate how well the class has upheld our social contract based on a 5-point scale. Their rating, in addition to their teacher's rating, is averaged, and we track our daily and weekly progress to earn rewards. Students lead discussions daily about what we did well and what areas we can improve on. The accountability and ownership seen among the students is the power behind our social contract, and it is heartwarming to see them politely correct behavior and give affirmations for improved behavior. I have lots of stories I could share, but I'll leave you with this on our most recent panorama data when students were asked, overall, how much do you feel like you belong in this classroom? Overall, 88% of students on my team responded favorably, an increase of 23% from last year.
I, as well as Ms. Roseman, have gone through Capturing Kids' Hearts training twice. By far, the second training was more eye-opening than the first. I think that there is a true dedication to making it work, that this is not a one and done this time. Now, I've been tasked today to speak a little bit about affirmations. The pictures you saw of the students writing actually came from my class. So the very first week of school, the 7th grade language arts teachers actually taught our students how to write affirmations correctly. As you can imagine, we wanted to make sure that 1, they were appropriate, and 2, that they understood the meaning behind them. So we actually spent an entire class period going over the process of writing them and making them appropriate for middle school. So I just want to read a couple of these affirmations. Now, when I say affirmation, I know Mr. Kosel has already talked about the fact that he's received some. We do student to student once a week. We also do student to teachers. We also do student to support staff and janitorial staff. And we've also written some to the cafeteria workers as well. So a couple student to student affirmations. It says, not only are you good at football, but you are smart. Now, as we when I read that, I was like, okay, until I found out that he came to me and told me that was the first time someone had ever called him smart. It says, you're amazing, athletic, smart, and a good friend. You help me to laugh and focus, and you have taught me how to be a good friend. It says, I don't know you yet, but I've seen you be kind and caring to other students. Now those two are best friends. Thank you for noticing that I didn't have a partner and asking me to be part of your group. This helps create a welcoming environment, and I can echo what Ms. Roseman said. Our panorama data over that was off the charts. One of the janitors at our school was so moved that students wrote affirmations to her that she actually broke down in tears. Another one, Officer Suggs, actually came to the classroom to thank them because she felt so appreciated. But I want to read you one, and then I'll end with one thing. And I'm not reading this because it was written about me. This is written to me from a student that I've never taught. It says, even though you didn't teach me, you taught me more important things. You taught me the importance of small gestures, teamwork, and always being positive. You made such an impact in my life, and I'll always remember it. Thank you for everything you do, and keep being a great teacher. My favorite part of the day is getting to wave to you, and you always give me something to look forward to. Say hi to Bob Ross, Hippie Bob, Taylor Swift, and don't forget Tupac. So those of you that are in my room, they know what that is. I don't read that because it was to me and the stuff that was in it. I read it because it exemplifies what these affirmations do. I walked in and this was sitting on my computer, and she came in, put it on my room. She's an 8th grade student, and this is what's going on at our school. It's to the point now, which I think is the next progression, is they're starting to affirm each other verbally instead of just writing it. So now we're getting verbal affirmations along with this as well. So thank you, board, for your time.
That concludes our instructional highlight. What questions do you have, board members? Yes, as Mr. Fulton said, that's the key. It can't be a one and done. It has to be sustained. It has to be long-term for it to take hold in a positive way. Thank you for your support. Yes. Yes. Get the heart before the mind, as Flip said. Thank you for your time.
Thank you again. That was extremely moving and makes me also very proud to be a part of this wonderful district, trying to help children adjust to being in an environment that could be very difficult at times. Next, we have announcement as it relates to our next board meeting, which will be November 6th, which is for everyone a Monday. Because I believe the next day is Election Day, and so we need to make sure that we have that availability for our folks to be able to vote. Public comment?
No public comment.
No public comment. All right, now we're at number 12, items for approval.
First up, we have Ms. McLean with our board policy revisions.
Good evening, Chairman Whitfield, Dr. Gardner, and members of the board. Last month, I brought to you for first read the Senate Bill 49 revisions to our board policy to make sure we're aligned with Senate Bill 49. We do now have until, with the passing of the budget, we have until January 1 to fully implement that. However, we still have to get these policies in place. So tonight, after your 30 days of sitting and looking at it and learning, I ask for a vote.
Board, we have a recommendation for approval of the policy revision, Senate Bill 49, and we've had 30 days to marinate and to ask any questions. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve this policy revisions for Senate Bill 49.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have a field trip approval with Dr. Royal.
Good evening, Mr. Whitfield, Dr. Gardner, members of the board. Tonight I bring to you an annual field trip request from the Mooresville High School wrestling team. The Mooresville High School wrestling team is requesting approval to attend a competition at Chapel Hill High School, the Tiger Classic, on December 20th through 22nd. This trip will involve approximately 30 students and 3 staff chaperones. There is no cost for the students to attend this wrestling competition. And would just like to give a quick update. As you may or may not know, Coach Ben Watson did have surgery today in Texas. He is in recovery. Just got an update. He is in some pain, but he is in recovery.
Thank you. We have a recommendation for field trip approval for Chapel Hill Wrestling event for December the 20th through the 22nd with approximately 30 students and 3 staff chaperones. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the request.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
We've been going to that one for a long time because my boys went.
And it's a good competition.
I believe Dr. Royal is going to stay up at the microphone and get us started with our school improvement plan presentations.
Thank you, Dr. Gardner. Again, Mr. Whitfield, Dr. Gardner, members of the board. Tonight, we're very excited to bring to you, as we do each October, our school improvement plans that our schools and our teams have been working diligently on up until this point. As you know, Mooresville Graded School District recently adopted our 5-year strategic plan. You'll see on the slide, and you'll also see in the school improvement plans from each of our schools that they align to the district's strategic plan. We wanted to start this evening by sharing our district's vision, mission, and our core values. As you know, our vision is creating a better community by empowering every individual to grow, thrive, and succeed. And our mission is We Are Mooresville, a learning community committed to providing a supportive environment where everyone can reach their full potential. These were guiding principles in our schools, for our schools in developing their school improvement plans. I'd like to thank each of our principals and each of our school improvement teams for their hard work and the time that they've spent on the school improvement plans that you'll hear about this evening. Also, shout out to our principals. October is National Principal Appreciation Month, so again, we appreciate all their hard work. Additionally, to my left, I'd like to thank our 2 curriculum directors, Ms. Conley and Dr. Wade, who led the school improvement plan process this year with our schools. They've led one-on-one meetings with principals and whole group meetings to ensure our school improvement plans are not just good plans on paper, but the plans contain concrete strategies, action items, SMART goals, and accountability to ensure that our schools can and will improve this year to best serve our students, staff, and community. As we go through the slideshow, first we want to remind everyone of some data points. You'll hear our school principals discuss their school's goals for the upcoming year. You'll hear them talk about proficiency and growth data from previous years. We want to remind everyone that proficiency refers to students who score a level 3, 4, or 5 on a state EOG or EOC. In other words, according to the state, the students who are proficient have demonstrated mastery of the standards for the grade level or subject area. For EVOS growth, that is the score that's used to show the amount of growth that students showed over the course of an academic year. A growth index score of 0 is considered an average year's growth. From there are 3 growth categories. A growth index less than -2 is considered does not meet growth. A growth index between -2 and +2 is considered meets growth. And a growth index greater than +2 is considered exceeds growth. The next few slides that I'll present show proficiency and growth data for our reading, math, and science state assessments from the past few years. And again, this data was used by our schools when developing their goals. This first slide shows our K-2 reading proficiency data for the past 2 years using our end-of-course DIBELS assessment. On these data slides, you'll see green arrows, as you do here in all 3 for kindergarten, first, and second. The green arrows indicate an improvement in our proficiency data from last year to this year. The next slide is showing our reading data, grades 3 through 12. And again, these are our state EOGs or EOCs at those grade levels. The red arrows indicate a decrease in the data from last year to this year. The black arrows indicate no change in the proficiency data from last year to this year. And again, the green arrow shows an improvement. The next slide is showing our growth data, again for grades 3 through 12 reading assessments from the last 3 years. Again, the green arrows indicate an improvement in the growth index from last year. The red arrow indicates a decrease in the growth index from last year. Additionally, we've added some color highlights to the growth numbers as well to give you a visual. A red highlight represents a growth index that does not meet growth. A green highlight represents a growth index that meets growth. And the blue highlight represents a growth index that exceeded growth. Again, just a quick visual to show how the growth has evolved over the last 3 years from our reading data, grades 3 through 12. The next slide is showing you our grades 3 through 12 math proficiency data. Again, these are all state EOGs or EOCs. You'll see the green arrows and the red arrows again to show either an improvement or a decline in the data. And again, the black arrow shows that it was no change for 5th grade math. Next is our growth data for math, grades 4 through 12. For the last 3 years, again, the color highlights show the visual representation of where we have not met, or exceeded growth over the last 3 years. And the next slide shows our science data. This shows science proficiency and growth data for the last 3 years. These state assessments take place again in grades 5, 8, and for us, biology is typically in grade 11. Again, the arrows indicate an improvement or a decline in the data, and the color highlights represent our visual representation of EVAS not meeting, or exceeding growth over those years. At this time, I'm going to hand it over to our curriculum directors, first Ms. Conley and then Dr. Wade, as they will share some baseline data and more about the school improvement plan process with you.
Thank you, Dr. Oriole. Good evening, board. Dr. Gardner, it's good to see everyone. So I am just going to spend a little bit of time kind of going over some of our strengths and opportunities for growth and improvement based on some of the data that Dr. Oriole shared with you. So first of all, I'd like to start with some of the positives, some areas of strengths and celebrations. As Dr. Oriole discussed, we did have proficiency in most areas for reading and math improved overall. Specifically, you did see for 4th, 6th grade reading and English 2. And 5 of our tested subjects for math grew and 1 maintained. So those are some great celebrations. For grades 3 through 8, we saw significant improvement in our growth for both reading and math. 6 out of 7 of our tested subjects for both reading and math showed growth with their growth indexes. So that's great news. Specifically, we saw some large improvements in our grades 6th grade for ELA and math, as well as our high school math 1. Some opportunities for improvement. You'll hear more from our school teams to address some of these opportunities. You'll hear these opportunities addressed in their school improvement plans. So I will kind of let them speak, but overall, some opportunities for growth and improvement is specifically around our science, our middle grades overall proficiency levels, and then also just reading in general as a district-wide. So this year we wanted to make sure that we provided some baseline data for our school board and all of our community members. So we wanted to start off with our K-3 data. The state of North Carolina provides students with beginning of the year DIBELS data, which assesses our students' foundational reading skills. So this baseline data is extremely important for our schools and also our district support to analyze and make sound instructional decisions around our schools and supporting them. So you will hear from some of our school teams tonight on how they'll address some of the outlier grade level data that you see in this slide. But this is a great way for us to know where our students are coming to us. And again, this is beginning of the year data. I would like to point out with East and MIS, though, this is their DIBELS data. And again, DIBELS data is assessing their foundational reading skills, such as fluency, phonemic awareness, phonics, and we do have also our beginning of grade, third grade test, and they were at 20% and 22%, EMIS being 20% and MIS being 22% for that BOG. So although it looks like they're a little bit different with their foundational reading skills, they're really right neck and neck with each other in terms of the beginning of grade, which measures the comprehension end of third grade skills. So looking at our fourth grade and fifth grade, and then also our middle school, you'll hear more about our new school improvement plan process from Dr. Wade, but all of our goals this year follow an X to Y format. So with that format, we wanted to make sure that we include baseline data so that our schools could create measurable and realistic goals. I think it's also important that each school, since we rezoned, that we provided an accurate picture of their student body data so that we can give an accurate picture of how schools need to figure out how to support their student body. So unlike our K-3 students that have our BOI DIBELS data and their BOG data, we don't have statewide data for our 4th through 8th graders. So what we did this year is the numbers you'll be seeing are baseline data is their end of grade assessments from the previous year. So this gives us a good idea of kind of our proficiency levels of our students coming in so that our schools can be able to make accurate baseline data goals. You can also see the same for math. One thing that you'll find that I found interesting, I think you'll find interesting, is all the schools, when you look at the average for the 4th and 5th grade and 6th through 8th, are either very close, as you saw in the reading, or in math, they're the exact same. So starting off kind of at that same place. Okay, I'll pass it over to Dr. Wade.
Good evening. This year, as we previously heard, we implemented a new school improvement plan structure. Oops, let me advance here so I'm not touching this. To align with our new MGSD strategic plan and the work that Dr. Gardner led with our leadership teams surrounding the book we read this summer called The 4 Disciplines of Execution. Each school's school improvement plan has one goal that aligns with each of the 4 priority areas in our district plan that you see here. As teams focused on these 4 priority areas, we began to see some consistent areas in which our schools want to work, and you will hear much more about these hot topics listed here from each school's individual plan. Our school improvement plan format this year blends our strategic plan with elements of NC STAR, which is the platform that we use to share our school improvement plans with stakeholders and the state. Each plan has 4 total goals, 1 for each priority area. Schools then selected one district strategy and adapted it for their own school to guide their work towards their school goal. Next, they selected an indicator from NC STAR, which represents a research-based best practice for effective schools. Then they outlined 8 to 10 action steps that spell out a roadmap of the work to be done this year, providing milestones throughout the year, and delegating leadership among the school and beyond the school improvement team. Finally, schools identified a lead and lag measure that will help them track their activities and progress toward their goals throughout the year. And I will speak more about those 2 particular things which are new to all of us in a moment. With this new format, our goals this year are structured quite differently than you may have seen in years past. First of all, they are much more narrow in focus. We asked principals to be sure that they were only looking at one specific area or one specific item so that they would have clear, measurable data for determining their goals. All of our goals include a beginning baseline measure, or an X that Ms. Conley mentioned, and a year-end goal measure, or a Y, except in a few cases where we don't have a baseline X measure yet. That is particularly the case in our culture of relationship strategic plan priority area. We have just implemented parent and community surveys that will be the baseline for many of our schools' school improvement plan goals. You will hear tonight from each principal about why they picked each individual goal and how they determined the appropriate amount of stretch for that difference between their X and the Y for that goal. These decisions were all based on data. In the cases of survey data, those growth measures are based on recommendations from our survey platform partner, Panorama, on what is an expected area of growth from a beginning survey to an end-of-year survey. You will also hear what each school picked as their lead and lag measure. This is what came to us from the 4 disciplines of execution, which helps our teams focus beyond the whirlwind of their day-to-day tasks and focus on the activities that have the most impact on our students. A lead measure is a behavior that the team commits to doing regularly and that they predict will have a significant impact towards reaching their goal. On the other hand, the lag measure then tells us if that lead measure is having that effect on their goal. This lag measure tells us, when we look at this data, at least monthly, that we are progress monitoring along the year and not just waiting until the end of the year to make sure that we are on track to meet our goals. Before we proceed from hearing with our principals, I'd like to stop and pause. We've given you a lot of information, a lot of data, and a lot of new processes in place, and I'd like to see if you have any questions for our team before we turn it over to the principals.
Can you give just an example of a lead measure and a lag measure?
I would be happy to. So a lead measure, as I mentioned, is a behavior that we believe, if done consistently, will lead to a changed outcome. So in a curricular and instruction world, I might predict that the more time students spend reading grade level text will increase our proficiency on the end of grade text test. So our behavior that we are going to commit to doing is that we will plan to have students spend at least 45 minutes a day reading a grade level text. That is something that is in our control, that we can monitor, and that we believe has a cause-effect relationship. If we do this, then our end goal, increasing our proficiency on the EOG, will change. Now that lag measure is how do I know that that behavior is working along the way? Because otherwise, I don't know till the students take the end of course exam or the end of grade exam whether it's working. If I've made a incorrect strategic bet, I have a lot of potentially wasted time. So that lag measure is something that we look at a minimum monthly, and more often, more frequently than that, that tells us, are we seeing changes in that outcome? So in my example of spending time in grade level text, I might use a common assessment that our students take in ELA every 2 or 3 weeks that mimics an EOG or an EOC exam. Maybe it's only 5 questions with 1 passage, and I'm tracking the percent correct over time. So in September, maybe the average percent correct for my teachers was 60%. In October, it was 65%. In November, it was 68%. So now our teams are looking at this data. Is what we're doing working? Data indicates yes, we think we are on track. If those data points are going down, I went from 65 to 62 to 61, or I'm staying flat, that is an opportunity for our teams to reflect and say, you know what, we're not moving the needle. Is it that we're not doing what we said we were going to do? Are we not doing it to fidelity? Or do these items not actually have a cause-effect relationship? Maybe it isn't that they don't need to spend time in text. Maybe it's that we need to build background knowledge. Or maybe it's that we need to teach a reading strategy that will be effective in helping students with their comprehension. And so that involves our teams going through a problem-solving process, much like we do for MTSS and other instructional data decisions, where our teams will look at that data to determine, is what we're doing moving the needle? And if not, why not? And what next?
And just to piggyback on that a little bit, in our work this summer, the research says you don't execute on your strategy for 1 of 2 reasons. You either pick the wrong strategy or you're not doing what you said you were going to do. So I'll use a non-academic example that everyone's probably tried at some point. If I decide I'm going to enter a weight loss challenge, I want to lose 20 pounds, so I'm going to eat 1,500 calories a day. So I need to make sure that A, I'm actually eating 1,500 calories a day, because if I'm cheating every day, then of course I'm not going to lose weight, right? And then B, I probably need to step on the scale every day to see, is it actually working or not? So one of those 2 things are usually the factor that's limiting success of a strategy.
So the check-in on these lead and lag measures, they're happening in PLCs, principal team meetings. Where does that happen and how?
It greatly depends on the goal. There is, from each school, you will see what their lead and lag measure is. Some of those are things that are checked in PLCs. Some of them are happening in admin team. But that is the next step for our teams once these plans are approved, is to go back and develop what we call the scoreboard. Are we tracking? How are we tracking? And what is that, what Dr. Gardner calls our cadence of accountability, to make sure that we are following through with what we said we were going to do and monitoring that data. So I can't give you a firm single answer on that. Any other questions?
I'm just incredibly excited.
That's exciting.
Waiting for this
And to start us off, I'm sure you will have a lot of excitement when you hear from Miss Graham, who's going to start us off with Mooresville High School. We did switch it up this year. Instead of going from
the other way.
kindergarten up, we are going the other way down.
Good evening, Board and Dr. Gardner. They did switch it up on me this year, and Mooresville High School normally goes last, and today we're first. But in true Blue Devil spirit, we come prepared always. Today, I would like to start you off by talking about some of the goals. Now, you will see 4 goals that every school has selected. However, you know that we work on many different things, but these are the overarching things that we're going to work on this year. Mooresville High School's first goal that aligns with the priorities is talking about maximize opportunity and achievement. Our first goal, we're going to focus on ACT. So MHS will improve its student ACT composite score from 17.7 to 19. From last year, they took it in 2023 to this year, they'll take it in February of 2024. Now, the reason why we selected this goal, there's many reasons, but the main reason a couple of things is the ACT is a vast amount of accountability of the framework and how we are graded as a school. And so that's one of the reasons. But 2, we talked to seniors last year as they exited. And the one thing that they talk about is, Ms. Gerber, I wish we had more help on ACT, SAT prep and not wait till the last minute because now I have to go out and spend a lot of money or I can't find a class. And so we heard that from a lot of their exit meetings. But this is a way for all teachers to contribute to this goal. So what our main focus was, students should not wait because in 11th grade, every student in 11th grade must take the ACT based on this state. We should not wait until the 11th grade to start talking about ACT. So what we're doing at Mooresville High School, we're starting now in 9th grade. Every student in Mooresville High School, whether they're in elective, core classes, every teacher is required to give a bell ringer that aligns around the ACT. The reason why we're doing that, it teaches you test-taking strategies. These test-taking strategies can also be used to increase and improve our EOC scores because the rigor of the questions and how they're worded, the way that they come in with the ABC and how you select those choices. So we're going to start as a school-wide, we actually already started this, the bell ringer. So our teachers were trained in September and we started rolling this out at the beginning of October. And so they have taken strides on it. And we'll talk about the lead and lag measurements. We chose the baseline of 19 based on the history of students' data. In 2016-17 school year, we were at 19.9. Well, that score has declined since then, and we are on our way to get that score back up, and we know that we're going to do that this year. We have invited a company. It is a mastery prep company to come in 2 weeks before our juniors take this exam, and they're going to talk about all the test-taking strategies that they're going to use. This is the first time that we have allowed a company to come in 2 weeks before the exam to help the students in test-taking. We actually can pull the score, the students' scores. They took a pre-ACT because every 10th grader takes a pre-ACT, so we'll have their pre-ACT scores. They'll get those back and they'll see where they scored and what areas they needed more help on. By that time in February, we will have had a ton of practice with these bell ringers and in the 11th grade English class, and we are hoping to see an improvement in that. Our lead measure is that every teacher will develop a ACT bell ringer once a week, and it's already there for them. The company actually made the bell ringers, showed the teachers how to explain what's right and why that was selected, and things to look for. And so teachers will have reports out with admin and our ICs in PLC meetings. We will also do this in department meetings, school leadership team meetings, school improvement team meetings. So everywhere we're reporting how did the science department do? How did the math department do? How's electives doing? So everywhere we have a scoreboard of that. And then the lag measurement is hopefully students will take a benchmark. We're going to measure this throughout in 6 weeks. They're going to take it in English 11. We're going to focus on that cohort to see how they are improving overall. And the big scoreboard is in February when they take those tests and get those results back for that ACT. And that is our first goal.
I think it's worth noting that all ACT scores plummeted across the country. And it's to be expected with COVID. We're going to continue to see the effects of COVID for some time to come. And interestingly, I just read a study that said that the ACT is not as valid a predictor of one's success in college as some of the soft skills like motivation, discipline, and those kinds of things. So while I do think that we need to give kids the skills to take the test, because that's the game we have to play, and there are companies making huge amounts of money convincing us that this is the game we have to play, we shouldn't put as much stock in those scores by themselves.
Right. And so we talk about that. We talk about everyone's not going to college, and everyone doesn't have to be successful to go to college. But when you're going into the trade industry or into the employment or enlisting into the military, everywhere you go, you're going to have to pass some type of certificate now, whether, you know, it's verbal or meetings or interviews. And so we're teaching students how to be motivated when they see things that's challenging, and how to take a dive and just step back and look at what you're focusing on, and then learn how to break those little things down.
That's a different set of skills than just how to attack the test. Yep.
I do have a question, just procedurally. The bell ringer assessments for the core content areas, if you don't have that core content, like let's say science, until the February, till the fall or spring semester, how are you trying to address some of those kids that may have some regression between, you know, from the previous year until the next year?
So the way the bell ringers are broken down is not so much content. We selected the bell ringers for specific teachers, so they're getting each core content, whether it's electives or wherever you're in. And so we get time for the teachers to say, let's say I'm not comfortable with math. However, we give them time, and our ICs work in their POCs, and then they're able to deliver that. So if I'm a science teacher, I'm not only delivering science.
Gotcha. Thank you.
When the company comes in, they'll spend a week or in the
They're going
ELA
to
class?
spend 3 days,
3
and we're
days.
going to divide the groups up, the junior class up into 3 different cohorts, and they will be in there 3 different days.
Great. That's great.
Goal 2 is safe, happy, healthy environment. And this one we're going to increase. We want to increase the percentage of favorable responses on belonging. And this is on our panorama data from the student survey, from 37 from last year to 45 this coming April. And our students were able to take that test, take the survey this upcoming, and it looks really good. The reason why we selected this, and we want all students to feel like we belong. It's one thing to say you're all in and you're a family, but if everyone that walks through the doors of Mooresville High School do not feel that way, then that's just saying something. So we want all students to belong. We put an emphasis on Club Rush this year, and getting the freshmen to find their fit, and even the upperclassmen who were not involved in anything. And let's say you're not involved in a club and you want to start a club. We open it up where students are able to start their own club, have small group conversations. We even have some peer groups that are going to start taking place soon, but we want everyone to have a sense of belonging there. We chose the number 45 because Panorama suggested a baseline of 1 to 4% increase every time you implement the test. However, in Blue Devil fashion, we want to push beyond the baseline, so that's why we pushed it up a notch to 45%. And our lead and lag mag there is our teachers will implement the SEL lessons in advisory and throughout the day. Last year we focused on giving SEL lessons in advisory. Now we're focusing on moving them beyond advisory and implementing them in every single classroom and making it what we have the grade level, where is up-to-date materials where kids can relate. It is not as young as we had it before. We're using Character Strong for that. And then our lag measure is we want to measure once they take the survey in April, we hope we get that outcome on that.
I just want to say I love the opportunity of, creating your own club. I think that's a great opportunity for students who are not as involved as some others. And I think that's a great measure for you to kind of identify on some of the things that they value and want to do moving forward. So that's a great opportunity.
And they've been trying to create everything.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of everything. That's okay. It's good conversation, and you are able to meet students that you wouldn't meet and do different things. We have some creative students.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Any other questions on Goal 2? Goal 3 is recruit, grow, and retain. Our biggest area right now that we have seen over the last 2 years is our EC staff. So we want to improve our exceptional children certified staff beginning of the year to the end of the year. Last year we were 40%, and we had one vacancy that we were not able to fill at all, and then some teachers left. And this year we want to maintain at least 80% of our staff in there. And I'm going to tell you, our EC staff, they work extremely hard. If you've never been an EC teacher, and I will say even as a science teacher, until I stepped into the AP administration role, into the principal role, I don't think I knew how hard the EC staff worked. And they work really hard, so they have a lot of paperwork. And so what we're trying to do is, one, as an administrator, support them where we can, making sure that we give them the opportunity to have those paperwork sessions and what to do with those sessions, and meet with those teachers to talk about accommodations and what those accommodations are like. We have a lot of new teachers, so explaining to them what does that really look like for different students, and giving them the time to do that there. And so we are trying our best to maintain those students and make sure we get what we need for the students to meet those accommodations, and maintaining those teachers. We chose 80% because we had that one position that we could not fill this year, and we still have that position this year that is still unfilled, but we're out now trying to get teachers. I know Dr. Albert is going to recruit some teachers at Appalachian coming this week, so we're crossing fingers that we can get that EC teacher in. And then our lead strategy is to track the number of support opportunities we provide for our EC staff. And our lag is just checking in with our EC staff on surveys and meeting with them during their department meetings. And I've been having one-on-one on how they're doing, how can we better support them, meeting with them and their inclusion teachers so that they can have that bond and be there. And then walking them kind of through, if they're new to the EC department, walking them through what does an IEP meeting look like, making sure that we support them prior to going in there. Because like I said, if you've never been in that experience for them, that can be something that is hard for them. Any questions? And our last one is culture of relationships. Our goal is MHS will increase the favorable response rate from question number 10, how welcome do you feel in your child's school, from the parent survey, and that went out this week. Mooresville High School, we want to have a baseline in October once parents fill that out in October, and we want to increase that by 3%. I would love for all parents to feel welcome at Mooresville High School. We love to have parents in, to have good conversations. We can have hard conversations, but just know that at the end of the day, we're all in this together, and we want the best for the students. Our lead measure is the weekly newsletter with communication of events, activities, school updates, and school opportunities. Our lag measure is to track the number of parents attending events such as fall, spring open house, any type of scholarship nights, orientation, homecoming festivities, and community events. I do want to report that we had a great turnout for two things. We had open house, and we combined open house with senior night, and we were able to increase that. The year before, we had 75 parents come through the door that we counted. This year, we were able to count 215. So that was a tremendous, tremendous opportunity that we kind of switched some things up a little bit there. And then we had a great turnout at our homecoming festivities this year, as we did last year. And so we just want to make sure that we continue to have these events, that we're welcoming the community and the families into the House of Mooresville High School. Any questions?
Now, I'd just like to encourage anyone who may be watching, when you receive these surveys, to please participate, because we were talking about affirmations with our instructional highlight, and I think we tend to give affirmations less frequently. We're all quick to complain when we're not happy with something, but we need this information so that we know if we're on the right track.
Yes, please fill out those surveys. We're definitely studying the surveys and trying to improve any way that we can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am usually last, so this is really weird, really weird for me. But Good evening, Dr. Gardner and members of the board. At Woods and My Way, under the first priority area, we chose the goal of increase the number of graduates with a post-secondary plan in major clarity by the month before their graduation date from 0% to 90% by May of 2024. Our strategy was to implement a process for each graduating student to create an individualized post-secondary plan prior to graduation. The reason we chose this goal is that we've had an increasing number of students come back. Our doors are always open, it seems like, and they come back and won't help after graduation. And we noticed everyone had a one-answer plan. Well, I'm going to Mitchell. Well, I'm going to the military, or I'm just going to go to work. But there was really no substance behind that. So last year, we started partnering with the CTE department here and spent some time with Kevin Wilson delving into Major Clarity, which is the platform that does a lot of career exploration, academic planning too, but a lot of post-secondary planning. And the counselor at Woods, Ms. Morris, has really taken this project on and has dove into Major Clarity and saw all that it has to offer. And so we have pushed in to our Blue Devil block, our intervention time, with Major Clarity 1 to 2 times a week, where students work on it and they're creating a digital, basically a digital portfolio that starts with a bunch of career exploration, interests, and that sort of thing. So she has kind of taken it a step further, and one of our action steps is to actually create a tangible portfolio for all of our students that they can put everything in, including their resume and just everything that you can think of that goes with a post-secondary plan. And they're working on that, and she's pushing that in with our teachers to really focus on that. Our lead measure is that the graduating students will spend at least 30 minutes weekly in Major Clarity, and it's really averaging about 60 minutes, completing or implementing his or her individual post-secondary plan. Teachers are doing a lot of hands-on. We've divided all of our graduating students up in the BDBs so that they can stay together, so that they're getting the most out of this. And then our lag measure is that we are monitoring graduating student progress on their plan and updating a monthly tracking document. We've created a document that's actually logging the time that the students are spending in Major Clarity and what they're accomplishing each week. So that's what we're doing for our first goal.
Do you know are we using Major Clarity with other students? And you said CTE, but...
My understanding is CTE has purchased it, but it's available at the high school, and a lot of teachers use different sections of it. Not only CTE teachers, but it's available to the regular, the other teachers, content teachers as well. But when we got in there, it has so much to offer. So it was something we didn't have to pay for, that we could adopt, that the main campus was already using. I think CTE teachers use it a lot more.
It just sounds like something that all students would benefit from.
Yeah. And I think teachers everywhere are picking and choosing parts of it to use in their curriculum, depending on where it fits the best. So, and I will say, Ms. Morris is really our counselor. I know I mentioned this, but she has really taken this on and is excited about it. And we're going to also, with the portfolios, we're going to meet with each family to go over their portfolio right before graduation with the parents, so that they know, what the student has picked to work on as well, or what they want to focus on after graduation. So, any other questions? All right. Under the priority area, safe, happy, and healthy environments, our goal is to decrease the percent of students scoring developing on the getting along with others category on the ACT Tessera from 52% in August of 2023 to 26% by May of 2024. Our strategy is to utilize the base SEL curriculum to build the necessary skills for all students to develop and sustain appropriate relationships with others. One of the reasons, or the main reason that we chose this goal, is a lot of our students' referral issues and discipline issues have to do with conflict resolution, maintaining relationships, and getting along with others. We have a lot of students who go out and get jobs, get fired in the first month, and when you really dive into that, It's really not having the skills to get along with others. So our hope is that we want to decrease that to 26% in half, and we thought half was a reasonable goal by the end of this year. We are also using our Blue Devil intervention block to push in different ways that we can work with the students on getting along with others. Ms. Morris and I have created a core module group for all the students to work on in BASE that targets conflict resolution and relationship building. Our teachers, some of them teach those, and then some of those are done self-paced. So the students have an array to do that. We're also working with the media specialist on the main campus. They're pushing in for us as well to help, which is really nice. They're coming over and helping us. And then we have an intern this year, so she's doing some of that as well. The other thing that we're doing is really dissecting discipline data. So for example, if a student has a referral for inappropriate language using profanity, well, we're not really interested. I mean, there's going to be a consequence, but we're not just interested in a consequence for using profanity. We want to know what happened. Did that happen because of a peer conflict? Did that happen because of a teacher-student conflict? And really using some restorative practices to kind of dive into there and do mediation. And, you know, it's not so much about the profanity or that behavior, it's more about what contributed to that. So we're trying to use every discipline opportunity as well. And then, of course, our lead measure, I've already mentioned, it's to spend at least 30 to 60 minutes in the base curriculum in our BDB blocks. And we haven't done this yet. We're looking at, because we don't want to survey kids to death, but we're working on creating a student survey that we can use at the end of the month to assess the student perception on improvement of getting along with others. So that is our goal number 2. Goal 3 in the priority area of recruit, grow, and retain. Our goal is to increase the average favorable score on professional development post-surveys from 0% in May of 2023 to 80% or higher by May of 2024 for all staff. Our strategy is to provide an array of ongoing frequent staff and program development opportunities for all staff that allow for individual and program support and growth. So, you know, our baseline is 0 because we haven't done this before, but we have a very seasoned staff with little turnover. So we this year want to go to the next level of really providing some professional development opportunities, not only in instruction, because our instructional coaches come over and work with our teachers 4 times every semester, but we want to partner with the alternative learning program of DPI to look at some things that are really specific to alternative programs, and also trade back and forth some resources with other alternative schools and other alternative programs. We also want to target de-escalation strategies, working with kids with trauma, and just some general restorative practices. And in addition, I really want for every staff member, instructional and support, to be able to pick an area they're interested in and us be able to research and provide that opportunity for them before the end of the year. So our lead measure is that admin will plan for all staff to participate in at least one professional development opportunity each month with a reflective survey, a reflective component, and a post-survey. And our lag measure will be that admin will keep a monthly log of the average favorable scores on all professional development on the post-survey results, and obviously, as the goal says, to maintain 80% or higher on the satisfaction of those surveys. So, and then our last area, culture of relationships. Our goal is to increase the percent of students with 10 absences or fewer per semester from 47% in May of 2023 to 60% by May of 2024. Our strategy is to implement interventions and collaborative processes between school, home, and community that address student attendance. Last year, this was also a goal in our school improvement plan because only 20% of students had 10 or fewer absences each semester. So we made it to 47%, so we doubled that, which was good. But we feel like we can do better on absences, and it's really our biggest, barrier and probably our biggest referral issue. It continues to be. A couple of things that we're doing this year to target that is we have mandatory parent orientation sessions, and we also have face-to-face meetings on attendance. We also are working on home visits during our PLCs, and if a student has missed more than 2 days, we do an automatic home visit, much to some people's dismay when we show up on their door. We have gone to the wrong house too, true story. We're also implementing a lot of events. Some of you guys have been to quite a few of our events. We try to make them over the moon, and we tie a lot of those to attendance, so that works. And then referring back to Goal 1, we're also, the Goal 1, which is about the major clarity and post-secondary planning, we're also doing a lot of field trips and things to Mitchell and to CPCC that kids are wanting to come to school for, so those are kind of tied together. But the main thing we started doing last year was we have makeup time during the school day. So that worked for a while, but then kids were like, well, we'll keep missing and make it up during the school day. So now we're doing our makeup time, and it's mandatory. Once you get to 10 absences, you have no more free time. Every single bit of your free time is spent making up time during the day. So we really feel like that's making a big difference because our students really like their free time. As far as our lead measure, attendance metrics for students will be discussed collaboratively in our weekly PLC meetings and documented in all of our PLC notes, including interventions such as home visits. The percentage of students, or the lag measure, is the percentage of students who reach 10% or more will be tracked on a weekly basis and results reported to all staff. So that is our 4 goals this year.
Not a question, just you had mentioned developing a survey, and a lot of goals require surveys as a means of measuring progress and success. So I hope that we're going to be paying close attention to some of the restrictions and guidelines through Senate Bill 49. We talked about this at the training that most of us attended last week, and we certainly can survey. We do need to pay close attention to what we're asking.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to clarify what we learned?
Good evening again, Mr. Whitfield, Dr. Gardner, members of the board. I'm Patrick Kosel, the proud principal at Mooresville Middle School. Before we begin, I'd like to just invite you to ask questions, provide feedback about our plan. As a low-performing school, we're actually required by state to give a month of feedback from the community as well. So I think tonight's just the initial plan, and then we'll approve officially in November. Is that correct, Dr. Gardner?
Correct.
Could I just add an editorial comment to that?
Please.
Because it has been pointed out that the way in which North Carolina is defining low-performing schools, if in North Carolina we followed the same measures that a lot of other states do in determining proficiency, our schools would not be low-performing. So just want that said.
Well, we do have a lot of growth, for sure. We definitely have some areas. We have a lot of opportunities, I will say, to improve. So I want to dig into some of those opportunities right here. The first strategic plan aspect is maximizing opportunity achievement. Our goal this year is for MMS to increase grades 6 through 8 reading proficiency from 55.1% to 59% over the course of the school year as measured by the EOG. Those numbers are a little bit different because last year, Mooresville Middle School, actually since 2020, Mooresville Middle School has been between about 46 and 48% proficient. We've been very stagnant in our reading scores. However, our current 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade students, if you look at their proficiency last year, the current kids we have in our building, 55.1% of them were proficient last year. So that's the baseline we should work with, not the past Mooresville Middle School, which we no longer are. Our goal is to get to 59%, because we want to show growth of any kind in reading, for sure. 4% seems reasonable, but also our beginning of year diagnostic testing for Exact Pass said that 59% of our students should be on grade level. So we figured if we can show that at the end of the year, that would be a sound area for growth, and it would match what the Exact Path program is saying as well. Yes, that's what I wanted to say about that. Our strategy is to establish a school-wide literacy routine across all content areas. There's a couple reasons for that. Number one, last year, 2022-23, we had 10 allotted ELA positions, and we only had 6 certified teachers for those positions. So staffing has been a challenge for ELA. Currently, we actually have a long-term sub in an 8th grade ELA classroom as well. So we do not feel this is just more work for reading teachers. We feel like this needs to be a whole school unified approach to work on reading and literacy for our students. Our math scores have started to rebound, but reading has not. So we need to get all in and all on board on the reading strategies. How will we do that? Well, our lead measure is to use a grade level text within instruction at least 2 times per week. We are meeting with goal teams to answer Ms. Pennell's question from earlier, how are we going to be checking this? We have a goal team set up for a monthly meeting for each of these 4 goals. Everyone on staff needs to be part of one of the 4 goal teams who will be digging into research and data and action steps for each of these 4 goals. So they'll be reviewing monthly how we're doing. We've already met with this goal team for maximizing opportunity and achievement, and their recommendation is to use a News ELA program, which offers grade level text in any content area possible, electives, non-tested subjects, everything. So choosing grade level texts and also using some of the same tools that is found on the EOG, the highlighting tool, the annotation tool, so kids are used to having a digital platform to answer reading questions. No matter what kind of strategy you use on paper, they're tested digitally. So we want to make sure there's a connection there for students so they can show what they know in an accurate fashion. We're also going to have teachers plan for students to spend 30 minutes at minimum each week with the Exact Path reading program. That is our whole school intervention Tier 1 strategy, so we want at least 30 minutes to be on that reading program. Our lag measure, checking along the way, is for having students scoring at least 60% correct on biweekly reading CFAs. So we want our ELA teachers to come up with EOG similar CFA problems for students to look at throughout the course of the year. So they're always being assessed and being able to grow on similar level text like they will see on the end of grade tests. If they're not reading that level of text, they're not going to be prepared for the EOG and be able to show what they know. What questions do you have about the first goal of Mooresville Middle School? Feel free to come back later. Thank you. Safe, happy, and healthy. This was very much tied into our instructional highlight for tonight, Capturing Kids' Hearts. The goal for our school is to decrease the ratio of office referrals to students from 1.7, measured May in 2023 last year, to 1.0 in May of 2024, as measured by the referrals and handbook. We can't just necessarily look for a decrease in referrals because we've decreased our students. But what we want to do is see, is the ratio of students repeating referrals or having a boatload of referrals going down because of the interventions we're putting into place. So last year we had over 1,800 days of school missed by students because of disciplinary reasons. And that's 10 students missing an entire school year. So that makes a big impact. Students cannot perform on grade level if they're excluded from class because of disciplinary reasons. We also saw that, Mooresville Middle has not made growth in a decade, since 2013-14. We have not made growth as a school. We were closest in 17-18, and that's the last year we were under 1.0 referrals per student. So it makes sense to us to shoot for when we were closest, because the other methods we're putting in place should get us over that finish line. We just want our students to be in class. Our strategy is to use strategies from Capturing Kids' Hearts to model respect, collaboration, positive relationships. The lead measure, as we talked about in our instructional highlight, is that core teams of teachers are going to use components of CKH in the Engage and Explore aspect of Excel program. The good things, the affirmations, and referring to social contract, they're going to be doing that all the time. We also want teachers to teach a lead-worthy character lesson weekly. Capturing Kids' Hearts has an SVL component called Lead-Worthy Character. Now, every Friday in IMP time, we do those programs with our student body. So once a week, they're going to have a 30-minute lesson with their peers and with their teacher about lead-worthy character traits, things like empathy, friendship, respect, responsibility, things like that. So we're enforcing those skills along the way. The lag measure of how we're going to look at this data is to track the ratio of office referrals per students monthly. Now, there are some students who may have more than one referral, more than 2 referrals, and that still falls under the MTSS umbrella, but this is more of a whole school approach. How are we going to handle classroom culture and dynamics within the rooms? What kind of questions do you have about Goal 2?
Just when you were talking about the time lost due to discipline referrals, was that just OSS or did that include ISS?
We counted both.
Okay.
We counted time out of the classroom.
Out of the classroom.
Yes, and we can't improve on our proficiency and growth if kids are out of the classroom. We'd like them to be working on things in ISS, but that
Right.
doesn't always, it's not the reality. Goal 3 is for recruit, grow, and retain. As I mentioned earlier, keeping our staff, keeping certified teachers in the classroom is super important for students' sake. Last year, we only kept 73% of our certified staff from year beginning to year end, so that was a lot. We also noticed that 3 of the 4 courses that were EOG tested classes that had teacher turnover, 3 of the 4 that had teacher turnover had that room be the lowest performing in the grade level. Right? Which makes sense. You have teacher turnover, there's new expectations. Oftentimes we're not hiring certified teachers, we're finding people that we need to train, so there's a learning curve. So we need to keep certified staff members present. We also noticed that of the 17 new staff members last year to our school, only 8 are still in MGSD. So we also have a need for new teacher training and onboarding to make them feel supported, to make them feel empowered, but also make them successful, because that success is going to breed more success. We just aim to decrease certified staff turnover, period. That's what we're looking for. The 83% represents a cut by 50%. So last year we had 18 certified staff leaving. We'd like that to go to 9. Now we have fewer staff members, right, as a whole, because our school is smaller. So that percentage of 9 is a little bit different than the 18 last year. But we still are looking to go from 73 to 83%. That's a 10% jump in keeping certified staff in the classroom. How we're going to do that is to create a framework of ongoing support for all MMS teachers to build collective teacher efficacy and professional collaboration. This goes for new teachers. We've already developed a new teacher onboarding program where we don't just hire you and say, great, here's your classroom, here you go. We have hired a sub to stay in that classroom where the new staff member has a chance to visit other teachers, shadow PLC members and PLC meetings, meet with our instructional coach, meet with our technology department, meet with admin, see how the hallways and cafeteria function before stepping foot in the classroom and being expected to be skilled in all those areas. We want to provide training. So we've done that already because we hired someone around Labor Day, and we had some opportunities to build them into our culture before letting them, run their classroom.
I love that.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you. We're still perfecting it along the way. We also know our certified staff that we have now, we want to keep. So how are we going to hear from them and make sure that we're doing what we need to do to support them? Well, we want to do, as our lead measure says, provide at least 3 support opportunities for staff, which means protected team time. So twice a month during their PLC time, we do not allow IEP meetings or team meetings. This is their time that they can be with teams and take care of what they need to do. Twice a month. We also have required Kid Talk meetings and for MTSS and PLCs and like I said, team meetings, but we want to protect some time for staff. Learning walks, the staff said, we don't get to see what's happening in other classrooms. Yeah. What good stuff is happening around the building. So they want to set up a rotation where, once a quarter, once a semester, they have a chance at the PLC to visit maybe a different grade level or a different peer in their grade level to see what good things are happening in their room, and that came from staff. Staff events. Last year we had a celebrations committee what kind of planned the events for staff along the way. This year we said, what, staff, we want to hear from you. What do you want to do as a togetherness activity? And so the electives, 7th grade, 6th grade, 8th grade, and admin each have 2 months where we're planning a staff event. So we're distributing that responsibility to staff, and we're going to be doing some different things. Like the tailgate we had for the Selma Brook football game. That was an example of an event led by the 7th grade team. We're going to be doing some bowling events later on. We have an ice cream social planned for the spring when the weather warms up. So we have some things planned by the teachers for staff togetherness. And of course, BT-NT meetings. That's our lead measure. Our lag measure is to track the number of certified staff vacancies at MMS each month over the course of the school year. So honestly, to see if we're doing what we're supposed to do. We're going to have turnover. I mean, every school does. Retirements, people move because of a spouse's job, but we want to keep the people who chose to be at Mooresville Middle School, keep choosing Mooresville Middle School. That's what our goal is going to be for this school year. What questions do you have about our 3rd goal?
No, I just love the implementation of the learning walks and things like that. Just the all-in mentality is showing.
Thank you, sir. Our fourth goal is a culture of relationships. We are, as core teacher teams, our goal is to engage in two-way communication with 100% of students, parents, or guardians over the course of the year. A big proponent for the teaming structure in middle school is so all four teachers, or all two teachers perhaps, know those students very, very well. And we want every parent to have an interaction with that team of teachers at some point during the school year. Face-to-face, back and forth with Parent Square, a phone call, a conference, something like that. We want to have 100% of our families feel communicated with and engaged by the teachers. Our strategy is to create a comprehensive, ongoing parent communication framework that includes both conveying information, so one-way interactions, and two-way interactions with parents as well. Our lead measure is for core teachers to communicate with parents bi-weekly in a one-way format. So we'd like every team of teachers to develop some sort of a newsletter or a post or a slideshow of what's going on in their classroom so parents know what the team is doing as a group. And many teams are already doing that, which is wonderful. We want to give them some parameters so every team in our school is doing the same communication with parents. First step in engaging the two-way is for parents to know what's happening in a one-way, informative way. We also want core teachers to communicate in a two-way format with at least 5 parents each week. So the core teachers on the team, we want to have at least 5 parents called back and forth on Parent Square or email, or to come in. We're also going to be doing parent-teacher conferences this year around report card times, end of this month, to give parents an opportunities to come and meet at the school with the core teacher teams right when report cards are released. We want to do the same thing in the spring. We also are planning on a Learn, Create, Share night in the spring where student work can be displayed and parents can come in and see all the work their kids are doing in the classroom.
Are those report card conferences going to be for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, great.
Yes, ma'am. We have dedicated 2 times during teacher planning periods, and on the required work day, we are going from 3 to 7 o'clock p.m. So parents who work can still come in and have a time slot to meet with their teachers, their students' teachers. Our lag measure is to measure each teacher team's total percentage of parents contacted via two-way communications each month. Are we doing what we said we're going to do? Are we doing at least 5 per week so that all our students on the teams have that contact with the teachers throughout the year? What questions do you have about our fourth goal?
No, I don't have a question. It's more of a comment. I just see that, the areas for improvement are actually happening. It's exciting to kind of see it, and most importantly, it's just exciting that you're on board to kind of continue to push despite, not hitting our mark. And it's as we've talked about, parents get involved in the surveys, get involved in the schooling, and making sure that you're giving your input just to, not only help your child, but help all students be successful. So continue to push forward.
I want to comment on parents have a tendency to disengage as your child gets in middle school, and I love the push to, like the report cards, I love the push to make those parents engage, make them realize there's a way to find out what your kid, just because they get in middle school doesn't mean you don't have to pay attention to what's happening anymore. So
and
I love that you're giving them opportunities. Yeah, it's great. That's great.
Yeah, first step is to give them the opportunities. Shout out to our PTSO who put on a great fall festival to bring parents to our campus this past fall. That was awesome. So we're making steps along the way.
I see your performance improving. I don't think you'll be in that category much longer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's an opportunity. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Chairman Whitfield, Dr. Gardner, members of the board. As we begin to look at the goals for Selma Burke, I think it's important just to note that we occasionally had to get a little creative on our X, not having a last year to reflect on. So when we get into maximize opportunity and achievement, we looked at our composite scores for proficiency, and they were at 52%. And so that 55% goal for this year represents a group of students that we were able to identify who were within 2 points of proficiency. Historically speaking, we see a drop when students come into the middle school. So what this goal actually represents is capturing all of those students, keeping the ones who were previously proficient, and catching the ones who are right there on the margin and pushing them into that proficiency range. So our strategy for that is to develop a universal literacy framework, which will be used across content areas. Our lead measure for it is really to use that, and the goal behind this is to have one voice, right? So that if a student's in a science class or in a social studies classroom, or they're even in their math classroom, they're using the same strategies and they're getting really good with those strategies to improve literacy overall. So all core content teachers are going to implement one of those strategies that we've identified that are research-based and effective in their classroom instruction at least once weekly. We're starting to see already the early stages of that, and it's happening more because they're utilizing those tools together. Our lag measure for that, our ELA teachers are going to give a mini assessment bi-weekly that's going to mimic their EOG, and that's going to let us track our percent correct over time and see the progress and how we're moving towards that goal and increasing that proficiency range. In priority area number 2, for safe, happy, and healthy environments, we want to reduce the rate of students with repeat offenses of referrals in our 8th grade specifically from 5%, which is about where we were in September, to 2% by the end of the year. To put some numbers on this, and the reason we picked 8th grade, we currently have, I just checked it, about 174 office referrals. 114 of them are our 8th graders. Out of those 114 in the 8th grade, our top 2 are making up almost 30% of those referrals. So if we can reduce the amount of students from 5%, which is about 11 kids, down to more like 4 or 5 kids who are, and I mean, ideally we'd drop it even further than that, but that becomes more manageable because right now, and I think our 8th grade team would tell you, it feels like there's something happening all the time because that percentage is so high and we're seeing just repeat of behaviors. And so the way we want to address that is one, our strategy is to create a consistent behavior system used by the entire grade level. We've met several times. We're going to meet again tomorrow to talk about how it's been going, the process, how much fidelity have we given to it? Are we making sure that we're going through these steps before we're moving to office referral? Our lead measure, utilizing capturing kids' hearts, and the 4 questions to redirect student behavior, and then keeping our social contracts alive in the classroom to help manage that behavior. And in addition to this, administrators are handling discipline with a cycle of reflection, consequences, and relationship repair. If we don't have students reflect on, if we're not teaching in that moment skills, other choices they could have made, we're missing an opportunity. Consequences alone are not going to change the behavior. They have to be a part of it, but then the other piece is that repair to relationships. If there's an incident in your classroom that's damaged the relationship between student and teacher, and if we're not taking the time to repair that before the student returns to the classroom, the likelihood of them repeating is just increased. So for our lag measures in this, we're going to be looking at that and reporting out the rate of students with repeat office referrals every 2 weeks. So that we're looking at it as a team. We can sit down together during team meetings to talk about where we're at, how many students have been repeating behaviors as far as discipline goes. For our third goal to recruit, grow, and retain, we want to increase the retention rate of certified staff from the district's most recent official average of 81%, that was in May of 2022, to 90% as a school average in May of 24. Truthfully, I'd like to retain 100%, but being realistic and knowing that people do move and things change, this still leaves us room, I like to break down the percentages more into the individual, and so this is just 2, maybe 3 teachers that choose something different moving forward. So we want to create a culture that supports staff satisfaction, increases morale, increases a sense of belonging, and we're doing that by providing at least 3 support opportunities for all teachers each month. One of these that for me is just kind of near and dear to my heart is a staff check-in. These are conducted by my admin team and myself. This is literally an informal, how are you? What do you need? What else can I do to support you? What's going well right now? And just having that one-on-one conversation with staff and making sure that we're doing those regularly with our staff throughout. But also having our instructional coach check in, doing staff events monthly. We have a sunshine committee that is up and running. Currently, there is a ghost, I suppose, moving through the hallways as we're being booed. It's nobody knows who's booing who, only who's been booed as it continues to move throughout the hallways. So we've shared our staff favorites, things like that, and signed up for it. And so as staff get booed, then they go and boo somebody else who's signed up to be a part of it. So a lot of fun happening right now along with that. But getting staff just involved in creating that sense of unity, even to the point of in our staff meetings, spending some time mixing them. You know, we get to know our grade level team really well, but sometimes we fail to learn the other people that are in our building. So I've been very intentional in our staff meetings of making that happen and providing that space for them. And then creating those events so that we can go off campus sometimes as well and spend that time together as a family. For lag measures, we are going to report the monthly retention rate of our instructional, certified, and classified staff. But we're also developing just a quick 2-3 question survey for our staff that we can give out monthly just to see where satisfaction lies, where pressure points might be.
I hope that both middle schools, since you have a similar goal, are going to be tracking when people leave, why they're leaving.
Absolutely.
Because there's a difference between someone whose spouse is relocated and someone who's going to a neighboring LEA.
Yes. For our last goal, for under culture of relationships, we would like to have 95% of our families volunteer, visit, or attend a school or community event that's hosted by Summit Burke Middle School throughout the year. We want to build that culture of community at Summit Burke where, this is our first year, tradition is starting now, and we are doing everything that we can to continue to encourage family involvement. And we want them to be a part of the school. So whether that's coming in to volunteer, whether that's us going out, we really chose this goal to build on the momentum. We started doing some of these family nights in the spring. We continued on through the summer to provide opportunities to engage with our families. And we looked at, for our lead measure, one way to make it just a little bit more personal is to have our teachers make 5 personal invitations to events that we're hosting. We're providing a variety of events both on campus and we'll be doing some things out in the community, but then going one step further than just sending out the parent square that says, here's this thing we're doing, having staff reach out directly to the family and say, hey, this is something that's happening this month. I really think that you might benefit from or you might enjoy. Please come out. Looking forward to seeing you there. To get them more involved and see that we want them to be, we're not just saying come, we want you to come and be involved. And so we're going to report and we're going to track monthly our families that have visited the school or attended our events. Questions, comments?
I just thought it was really cool when you did your traveling show in the summer.
We had a lot of fun this summer.
No, and I was just going to touch base on the last 2 slides, the cultural relationships, and then not the last 2, the safe, happy, and healthy environments. When you talk about the referrals, I think your relationship buildings, as we get more parents involved and get people to come and, see what you guys are doing there, and just working together to kind of, just bring that correlation between the, safe, happy, and healthy family and then also the safe, happy, and healthy educational realm. I think you'll see some differences there because that is kind of a little concerning based on the fact of those referrals and things being, I can't remember the exact number, but that's pretty high. So I think, I think just getting those families involved and trying to get to the root of the problem is going to be key for us because a lot of the behaviors may not be educational. It may be, foundation, home life, so just kind of building those relationships to help us there. So I'd be interested to see some of the data and just ways we can kind of implement that.
Thank you.
I think it's an opportunity for us to have a break, and then we'll have the final 5 after that. So 5 minutes. Sounds good.
life wasn't very pretty. See, I was born and raised in the slums of the city. It was a one-room shack that slept 10 other children beside me. We hardly had enough food or room to sleep. It was hard time. Needed something to ease my troubled mind. Listen, my father didn't know the meaning of work. He disrespected mama and treated us like dirt. I left home seeking a job that I never did find. Depressed and downhearted, I took the cloud nine. I'm doing fine up here on cloud nine. Listen, one more time, I'm doing fine up here on cloud nine. Folks down there tell me, they say, give yourself a chance, son, don't let life pass you by. But the world of reality is a rat race where only the strongest survive. It's a dog-eat-dog world and that ain't no lie. It ain't even safe no more to walk the streets at night. I'm doing fine on cloud nine. Let me tell you about cloud nine. You can be what you wanna be. You ain't got no responsibility. You're a million miles from reality. You're as free as a bird in flight. There's no difference between day and night. It's a world of love and harmony. You're a million miles from reality. Reality. You ain't got no responsibility. Every man in his mind is free. You're a million miles from reality. You can be what you wanna be.
Tough group to wrangle back in, huh?
Mm-hmm. Should I say?
We need to get Alan to flash the house lights.
Yeah.
Maybe just use the gavel again. That'll get him. Oh, you still got him. You still got King.
Who waiting on Rakeem?
Mr. Whitfield, just start counting. We're
Yes.
coming back together in 5.
5. That's right. 4, 3, 2, 1. Dr. Gardner will resume our school improvement.
Good evening, Chairman Whitfield, Dr. Gardner, and members of the board. I'm excited to come and present our plan for the year for you. And we will start off with our Maximize Opportunity and Achievement. And I'm excited to hear that a lot of other people are seeing what we're seeing in English language arts, and we all kind of have a common goal and end in mind. What we did is we are tired of being in the 50s at EMIS and ELA. And so we looked at all of our students, all of our grade levels, and we really looked at our data from last year, our third graders coming up into fourth grade, and we narrowed down and looked at our ELA fourth grade proficiency, and we really looked at how many kids were close to being proficient. And there are 23 students within 3 questions of being proficient on the third grade EOG test. So we felt, what can we do to really help enhance the whole grade level, but also really focus on those 23 students? And so we decided that we would increase our proficiency in fourth grade from 51% in May of 2023 to 58% in May of 2024. And we said that, looking at all research base, that really it shows that when students spend time in rich grade level and above text, they increase proficiency. So we will have our students, having our students engaged in reading text at or above grade level for at least 20 minutes during their daily core literacy block every day. So that's 5 days a week in fourth grade. With our lag measure, we hope that we will assess this using our fourth grade PIPs. When you hear the terms PIPs, those are our portfolio passages that our students take monthly. And so we'll be looking at that. Our students will be tracking their rate of success on the PIPs, and they'll also be setting goals of what they choose to work for. And so as an entire fourth grade ELA team, our instructional coach, our reading specialist, and the admin team, we will be looking to find this rich grade level text that will involve a variety of types of passages. So it might be nonfiction, it might be instructional text, it may be fiction, it may be various genres. We want things that are high interest to our students, but we also need to mix it up with things that aren't always high interest, because we know that our students are going to see things on the EOG that they may not be interested in reading. But we want them to be able to attack that passage, for them to be confident, they've been exposed to it. There's nothing like only reading below grade level text and then you get a text that's fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade that you need to attack. So we're really hoping by doing that we will increase that proficiency. And with increasing that proficiency, we can help to push our entire ELA proficiency up across 60%, which is really one of our goals. Now, how will we measure this? We will be looking weekly at PLCs. We'll be talking, what are trends that we're seeing? What types of questions that our students struggling on? Where do they feel frustration? What are they excited about? What are our positives that we're seeing? What are our glows? And so our fourth grade team, first of all, I was like, oh, we don't want a grade level to feel like we're coming after them, right? Because we want to build everybody up, our students, our staff. And so we went to fourth grade and we presented this information. And our fourth graders are truly COVID babies. They went out of school in their end of kindergarten year. They spent a lot of first grade online or in virtual classes. And so they have really struggled. So we feel like giving them this extra support with reading. One of the things our teachers also talked about is bringing back reading to our students. We get so caught up in we have to get this part done and this part done and this part done that they're not always reading to the students. And so that's one of the things we said could also be hearing the teacher read and model. And so we're really excited to see. We've already seen an increase in our PIPs in September and what we're seeing from our students in October. So we feel like we're on the right track with that. But as Ms. Wade said, we will continue to measure this weekly, monthly. We'll talk about, are we on track? Is it making a difference? If not, this is a fluid document. What do we need to do to get our students on track? So fourth grade, this isn't just for those 23 students. It's the entire fourth grade because we've heard talked about as students coming into a new school, they struggle sometimes. So we were hoping that this is really going to benefit every fourth grade student. Any questions? Okay. All right, next, we will be looking at reducing the number of office referrals for aggressive behavior from 139 in 2022-23 to 100 in 2023-24. This is another thing that we're still continuing to see from COVID. Our students are struggling to self-regulate their emotions. They're impulsive. If they get upset with something, they immediately react to what they are upset about. So we've implemented a few things. We're implementing the 5-point scale as well as the zones of regulation to help students with self-regulation. So you will see when you come to EMIS, every one of our students will have cards that look like this, as well as these will be hung up throughout our building. And so you will see these different things. Also, we have a little feelings thermometer. So our students can assess, how am I feeling right now? What is my appropriate reaction to how I'm feeling? Our staff is getting trained on the 5-point scale and the zones of regulation. And our sensory teacher has already started taking the class and helping our staff with strategies from the zones of regulation. But really our goal is to teach our children, how do we react? So when they get to high school, they don't get fired for losing a job or college. So how do we really help them identify those feelings and make appropriate choices? Now, looking at our data so far, we just finished the first quarter, we're at 24 office referrals for aggressive behavior. So we're on track right now to meet that goal, but we're still not thrilled with 24 for one quarter. So we're going in, we went into classrooms and talked. We'll continue to teach this. Our teachers will be reminding our students of the 5-point scale daily. And so you will see that. The teachers will review the 5-point scale and zones of regulation daily. We'll track office referrals through Educator's Handbook each month. So we're really hoping that this is going to make a difference around, because as we know, the more time our students are in class, the more that they're learning, the more they're successful. And as important as academic growth, so is our social emotional growth. All right, so recruit, grow, and retain. We have an amazing, amazing staff at EMIS, but a few years ago when we did our teachers' working conditions survey, we saw that our teachers only put that 68% felt connected to the other adults in the building. Well, the way EMIS is set up, we're in hall, specialist, cafeteria, and so we don't always see each other. And so unless it's for a staff meeting or something special training that we're doing, they don't always get to connect with each other. So we want to increase that to 84% because they have great things not only to share about themselves and get to know each other, but they have great academic information they can share. And so we will be intentional in creating an atmosphere of appreciation and a more inclusive environment by increasing the number of opportunities for social interaction and fellowship at EMIS. We've already started a Sunshine Committee led by Andrea Wilson, our instructional coach. And so we're getting feedback from our teachers right now of what they would like to do. And some of the things, we're going to do a cookie decorating class. We are going to do a painting class with an instructor from Mooresville coming in. We've talked about going off campus for bowling. We're going to do a cookout where families can come. Everyone can bring family. Of course, we'll have our holiday socials as well. But we want to make sure that everyone gets to meet everybody. Another thing is vertical alignment. Sometimes it's hard to do vertical alignment with different trainings, but we want to implement more vertical alignment by grade levels, but also by subject areas. So our teachers can talk more and share their knowledge. We will be intentional with doing that. We'll hold at least one social gathering outside of school quarterly, and the Sunshine Committee will plan in-school activities as well. We'll have a monthly survey of EMIS staff culture and belonging in our staff newsletter so we can assess. And we've also opened up a part for staff. Tell us what you want to do. What would you like to do to get to know each other better? And then our culture of relationships. So this is super important because our parents are always saying, what can we do for you? What can we do for the school? But we need to ask our parents, what can we do for you? And so how can we help you help your child? And so from our school improvement team meetings, we have some amazing parents that are a part, but also just talking in conferences, meeting with parents in different situations. Our parents want to help our students at home, but sometimes they don't always have that knowledge to do that. And so we did a survey, and we took the responses, and some of them were, how do you feel about helping your child with homework? And if you feel a little frustrated or unable to do it, what areas are you most concerned with? And so math and ELA were our two highest areas, with science coming in as a third. And then we also asked what kind of things would help you. And they asked us if we would do an EOG prep night, if we can have a math night, if we can have a STEM night. One of the things we incorporated in last year and was super successful with our 6th grade is we had a 6th grade teacher who makes videos of everything that she teaches. And we put her YouTube channel, and our parents, who are 6th grade parents, were able to go in and watch that. So we're gonna do that as well with our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, so that our math, I don't know if you've tried to do some of the math today, but it's pretty hard. And so our parents can feel very comfortable watching that video and then helping their students at home. One of the things I loved is our district sent out about Dyslexia Month. We get asked a lot as admin is, I think my child has dyslexia, or my child does have dyslexia, how do I help them? So that information that our district sent out about Dyslexia Month and the calendar was great. So I've shared that with our parents. Our first thing is sending out reading comprehension information to help our parents when they're reading with their child, what types of questions to ask. So that's kind of going to be our focus for October, and then we'll move into a different. But that's what we want to do. We want to help our parents help the children because our parents want to help. They're helping us so much at school, so how can we help them on that level at home? We will send monthly resources, and probably even more than monthly. I think I've sent 3 this week already. So we'll send monthly different varieties. We want to make sure, too, that our parents are reading them and our parents are utilizing, but we also have a section for what do you need, parents? What do you need from us? We want to make sure that our parents have open communication with the teachers, and if they're saying to teachers, hey, I don't understand this math, or can you share this math concept, that we are taking note of that, and we're sending out strategies for that. And then we'll be sending out our survey quarterly to parents just to get feedback of how we're doing, what can we help with, and then we're taking that information to plan our off-campus and on-campus parent nights. We've already got one that we're planning for Liberty Park, as well as different things that we're doing at school. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Mark Catone, principal at Mooresville Intermediate School, and I come saying that we have some work to do at Mooresville Intermediate, but it's already begun, and we're super excited. We have a very committed school improvement team. They came up with these goals, and especially the action items. You know, I had some ideas, and so the admin team, and then we just kind of made our groups, and they dug in and came up with better and enhanced ideas. So I like the all-in approach. I also like how the district's all aligned. It made getting 4 goals together and being able to speak to and execute these goals. So I think if we improve our academic goal, our discipline, our staff connection, and our parental engagement, our school will be a better place. So let's get started. Maximizing goal. So we picked a math goal, and this one has a lot of legs to it. So historically in fourth grade, and again, not to, like Tracy said, not to pick on fourth grade, but there are middle cohort, and historically we have students that passed the EOG in third grade and then did not pass it, were not proficient in fourth grade. And currently sitting in our fourth grade is 76.7% proficient, currently sitting there. So we wanted to increase that to 80, knowing that last year's proficiency in fourth grade at MIS was 51%. So we know within that is a high goal, but there's a curricular piece there that we need to dig into that we have not dug into, that we're beginning to dig into. And there's also some challenges that we hope will not happen, such as dissolving a class. And now we have our third grade team in the building. So again, this has legs. So we have told the third grade team about this goal so that we can be measuring their growth and they can share their knowledge of that correlation from third to fourth. And then we're watching our fifth graders who passed in third grade, who didn't pass in fourth, and we have those students targeted for tutoring as well as in our core instruction. Our main strategy is going to be focusing on specific mathematical practices to construct viable arguments and critique reasoning of others during daily core math instruction. So we have some things that we're going to do, such as some PD. There's 8 practices that the state recommends, and number 3 is this one. And we just see that there's better discussion in class already. And in our PLCs, the teachers are coming up with those essential questions, and then what are the arguments, what is the discourse of our students in that class during that time. So those are going to be our lead measure during the math PLC. And then we're going to track that with our iReady. We had a PD about our standards-based in November. The iReady is going to have 3 data points already collected, and so they'll have a more predictable track for each student. So that'll be kind of our lag measure for this goal. So it has a lot of legs. It's not just fourth grade, but that is where we've seen the dip and the reason for the goal. Our safe, happy, and healthy environment. This is going to be our decreasing discipline, and we chose to measure that in terms of instructional days lost. So last year we had 236.27 days lost. So we're going to decrease that by 20% to 189 in first quarter. Our scoreboard says that we have around, I think it was about 10.4, so we're well on track. We did lose sixth grade, which sometimes had more severe consequences than the other grades, but currently our most referred grade is our third grade. So we've noticed that transition into the bigger school. That's something that we need to work on. So we're working on that. And also our referrals are down 65, so we're in the plus 65 referrals, less than first quarter last year. But focusing on our instructional time loss, we want the students in the classroom. How are we going to do that? EMIS has some amazing strategies. We're piggybacking on some of those, but problem solving being the main thing. We have developed a sensory room, a check-in, check-out system that we have more than one person, and also a mentoring where we have a variety of employees throughout the building mentoring and doing the check-in, check-out. So those are with our repeat offenders and some of the students that need our most help. And then our behavior support team, we didn't have one last year, so we've created one. We asked staff who wants to be on that committee, and in that committee, we have now developed a form so that other staff members can talk to them. So they're not just analyzing data, but they're responding to other staff needs and trying to help with those management as well as social emotional learning for our students. So also, we started the year reviewing our universal expectations and kind of tweaked those a little bit, especially for our repeat offenders. And that's ongoing and some of the work done by the behavior support team as well. And then our lag measure for that will be measuring and keeping up with that scoreboard, like I said, so no more than 47 days lost of instructional time. So like I said, we're on track. We have some good things in place, and it's got a lot of room to grow, but it's doing well.
And you're defining that the same way, OSS and ISS?
Yeah, OSS, ISS, and we have time out as well. So any time out of the classroom.
Okay.
Yep. Recruit, grow, and retain. As of today, we are fully staffed minus one exceptional children's TA that we do have placed, so she hasn't left yet, and we do have some leads on that. So that was the first goal. So we didn't feel like now that we're fully staffed, we felt like in this goal, we need people to feel connected, and you've heard that from the other schools. As soon as I got to MIS, I heard this verbally and in my meetings, and then I looked in the panorama data, and it's in there as well. When we asked staff last year, only 39% in spring of 2023 felt connected, and so we chose to raise that up to 60 on the panorama survey that will come in the spring. So we have a lot of different things that we're going to do. Creating that social committee. They've already given a monthly survey. We've done some activities that they've asked to do, and now we're saying, how did those go? And those are in-house things. We've done the painting party. We've done the food trucks, lots of food things. But also, this coming SIT team, we're going to talk about our classroom buddy. So all the grade levels, so fourth grade can get to know third grade, but we're going to have their classes get to know each other. So they're going to buddy up, and we have all that set up. We're sharing that actually tomorrow. They've also changed how we do shout outs. So being creative in how we connect in those meetings when we're all together. So we have the bragging bobcat. So it's kind of a pay it forward. So if you got this little bobcat, you have to recognize and come up with some things that another staff member is going to do throughout the month. So it should be quite extensive of what you're going to share with each other. So kind of a lot of within. Like I said, this was created by the school improvement team. And then the social committee is doing those monthly activities with what they said they want to do, and then we're measuring that. And that's just a staff survey. Of course, just like with the parents, we have to say, please take it. It's only 2 questions, please take it. We're looking at it, we're measuring it. And I think as we put that in our SIT minutes, they'll see that we're looking at that data. We want the staff to be connected, but we've heard that. Our building's the same as EMIS. Fourth grade, they love the fourth grade team, but they don't know the fifth grade and fifth grade. And so we really need the staff to be connected. There's so much learning and sharing that can go on, but you have to feel connected to each other. So a little bit of off-campus, a little bit of on-campus things, but those are some of the couple of creative ones I thought the team came up with as well. And then culture of relationships. This is the one we picked, and we did a survey just recently. So our baseline data was a survey sent out to parents asking them, do they have choice and voice of school events? So we don't want just parents to show up. We want them to show up and be a part of something they wanted to be a part of. We have a lot of PTSO events where the students are dragging the parents to go to those events. I'm talking about the other events, the math night, the science night, that we think are beneficial, but then sometimes you're like, well, the attendance, what was going on that night? So we asked them, and we shared, here's some ideas that we have throughout the year, and they came back with about 50% favorable. So if it was neutral or not agreeing, I don't have voice and choice, we said that it was not favorable. And then if they agreed they do have choice, then we said it was favorable. So we're going to give that same survey at the end of the year, being our lag measure, but throughout we're going to ask for satisfaction surveys. And plus we're looking, there was another question in the survey, and it said, I would like this type of event, or within this type of event, please go over canvas. Please do this. And so we're taking those. Even if it was 2 or 3 responses, that was pretty impressive. And we did have about 110 responses. So it is some sufficient data that we can go on. So we're going to ask and just go off of, this is what you said you wanted. How did we do? Will be our measure that we're looking at to see if it's working. Okay. Anyone have any questions? All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Got to adjust the microphone here. It's a little short people problem here. Good evening, Dr. Gardner, members of the board. I'm here for Parkview Elementary School, home of the Patriots. Not the Patriots that do not have a good football season, so we're not going to talk about them. But super proud of our school improvement team. We've got a great group of individuals and parents that are working with us, and so going through the process, they dug into our data. We had some really good discussions, and we've taken a look at the needs of our school, and we've come up with some goals. So for our maximizing opportunity and achievement, we are looking to increase our first grade students' proficiency of nonsense word fluency, correct letter sound, and we're looking at our Dibbles assessment, and we're wanting to move from 49% at our beginning of year benchmark to 79% by our end of year benchmark. One of the things that our team talked about is we looked at kindergarten, but then we really dug into first grade, and we're even thinking that it's possible because my first grade team is super competitive. They already won a prize if they meet their goal. They're trying to meet it at MOI. So they've already talked about if they need to make that change middle of the year, because again, this is a fluid document and we can look at process improvement and look at what our needs are. We're going to do this by implementing the University of Florida Literacy Institute Foundation's UFly, if you've heard of that. That's our new phonics curriculum, and Parkview is implementing that K-2. So we're real excited about the process that we've started, and they're going to be utilizing those weekly assessments to drive their instruction and also look at their small group instruction. As we look at our lead measure, our first grade team is looking at the implementation. They're sharing best practices, strategies, and also reviewing best practices because, again, we're learning the implementation of this curriculum. So we're doing that weekly in our PLCs, and we'll be progress monitoring monthly so that we can look at where our kids are. And looking at a scoreboard, we already have a scoreboard for this in our PLC room. We've got a football field going, and when we finish our progress monitoring, our teachers are taking that time in PLC to actually move their footballs because we actually put names, not on the footballs, but we have numbers associated with those children, because then that way they're able to make a connection with the face of that kid and how they're doing and where they need to go from there. Our safe, happy, and healthy environments, we are looking at decreasing our office referrals for our second grade for 20%, which is about 106 referrals, and that was at the end of May, to getting that down to about 85. Right now, we are at about 21 office referrals, and kind of like everyone else has said, looking at the cohort, this is our cohort that had the highest referrals for the students that are actually in our building. So that's what we focus on second grade. And a lot of it is aggressive behaviors or horseplay. Again, that self-regulation is where they're struggling. So we are going to look at implementing the 5-point scale for our second graders to help decrease that behavior. We will use our lead measure, which will be that our second grade teachers will spend a minimum of 3 minutes in their morning meetings reviewing that 5-point scale. Our PBIS team is working on that training for our teachers, and we're also going to share that with our enhancement team since they also touch those second graders. And our lag measure will actually be looking at Educator's Handbook to monitor this monthly and looking at possibly having no more than 9 referrals each month. So we're a little bit above, so we've got to kind of look at if there's some repeat offenders and what we maybe need to do with supporting those individual students. For recruit, grow, and retain, we are looking at differentiated professional development to meet the individual needs of our teachers. And we're using the teacher working condition survey. So looking back at that, we were at 44.4% when the teacher working condition survey was provided a few years ago. And so we're looking at 70% because that means that is the number of teachers that's more favorable in responses. So our strategy is to provide differentiated PD opportunities for teachers. And so what we are doing as our lead measure is providing various offerings for our teachers monthly, and we've actually started doing that almost on a weekly basis in our weekly newsletter. So we're, as admin team and instructional teams, we're looking for those opportunities and sharing those out to our teachers and encouraging those that maybe this might be something that they're really interested in, and providing ways for us to support them, giving them release time if it's an afternoon, because some of them are before school gets out, so making sure that we've got coverage for them if they want to participate with those, because a lot of them are online opportunities for them to be able to do. And what we're doing is we're providing teachers with a survey quarterly for our lag measure on those PD opportunities, and then asking them what they need from us to further support those needs, to make sure that they're able to meet their individual PD goals, but then also knowing that right now a lot of their time is being focused on with letters, so that kind of keeps them from being able to explore other opportunities, and we want to make sure they have them. And then finally, looking at culture of relationships, we also are kind of looking at increasing the sense of belonging and connection for our parents and our families, and we want to increase that by 10%. We have sent out a survey, so we are collecting and determining what that baseline data will actually be, and we're wanting to monitor our parents and our family's sense of belonging by offering multiple opportunities for them to engage with the school. Our lead measure is to provide those different opportunities for them to feel connected through various activities. So we are working with our PTO to expand some of those chances for our parents to come in, and opportunities for them to be involved where it may not be that they have to come in, but maybe they can do some things at home to support the classroom or the families, the classrooms or the teachers, excuse me. And for the lead measure, we're going to continue to gather quarterly feedback. So that same survey, we will give it every quarter so we can see how we're doing. We did a Likert scale for them, and then we gave them an open-ended question where they can provide suggestions. And the reason we chose this is we have a brand new PTO board this year, and also the school realignment has kind of given that opportunity for us to kind of meet new families and help them be connected to what Parkview is and what we stand for. And another thing, what was kind of interesting in talking to our new PTO board, thinking about how with COVID, our families weren't allowed to be in the building. And so we want to reestablish those connections and help them feel welcomed in various ways, whether it's coming in, helping with duty-free lunch, or coming in and helping at the book fair, or packing up the book fair. So just different ways for them to feel connected with our school building. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, are there other schools using the 5-point scale? Okay. I see a lot of nods, because when you said it and Tracy talked about it, I thought, hey, that's got to help if it's being used in the lower grades and then as the students move on. But okay.
Because our teachers had the de-escalation training with Miss Aston last year, and so then we figured, in talking to our OT, she's kind of helped with our sensory room and training for our staff on our sensory room, and so we were kind of brainstorming what are the best ways for us to kind of help our kids, be able to self-regulate and make those connections with how they're feeling and better handle those things when they're feeling that way. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board and Dr. Gardner. It's a pleasure to be here tonight for Rocky River. I've really enjoyed this school improvement process. It has really leaned into the values of MGSD that we identified in the strategic plan. I think that you'll see that through the authentic relationships that we have at Rocky River, we have really figured out how to empower our staff and leverage their talents. And I'm excited to share that with you. So our first goal, aligned with maximize opportunity and achievement, is focused on first grade reading. We want to move our students from 74% proficient on nonsense words fluency, words recoded correctly, component of DIBELS, subtest at the beginning of the year, to 84% proficient at the end of the school year. We chose to focus on first grade because we have learned through letters training, and I learned it personally going through a High Point seminar that there is a large percent of students who are not proficient at the end of first grade as readers who will never be proficient readers. And so we want to target this grade and really, of course, we're going to do this for all of our grades, but our goal is that 84% of our students are proficient readers. Nonsense words fluency and words recoded correctly will give the students the skills they need to decode unknown words from the time they're in first grade until they're sitting at these seats where you're sitting. Because we all come across words we don't know, and we need those skills to decode words. We believe that the lead measure, that the behavior that we can control, is that teachers will engage in data analysis discussion routines every week in PLCs. So while we're implementing UFly, we also are engaging in data discussion. What is the data from the Friday assessments that UFly has us give? What is it telling us? And because we're being told this, how do we need to adjust our instruction? And for what students and for why? So that everything we do is purposeful when it comes to reading instruction in the first grade, but also in all grades. And the lag measure, how we'll know that we're progressing throughout the school year, will be through the DIBELS progress monitoring. That will happen at least quarterly. For many students, based on their proficiency level, it will happen every 10 to 20 days. For the second goal, for safe, happy, and healthy environments, we looked at the North Carolina Early Learning Inventory for kindergarten that the kindergarten teachers give in the fall, and we will ask them to give one component of it in the spring for our measurement data. We want to move 43% of the kindergarten students scoring from the kindergarten through first grade range in September for managing emotions to 80% in May. We chose kindergarten because this is their foundational year. Right now, the majority of our office referrals are coming from kindergarten students. And again, it goes back to the self-regulation. Kindergarten is different from preschool or from whatever environment they were in a year ago. We have higher demands. They're in a group setting for a longer period of time, and it becomes tiring. And the more tired you are, the less ability you have to regulate those emotions. So using the incredible 5-point scale, we want to help students identify the level of the problem, and then what should my reaction be because it's that level. I watched Ms. Earnhardt work with a student on this recently, and the student was able to identify that their reaction to the problem was a huge problem, which means we need to call 911. But in reality, the size of the problem was very small, and a strategy needed to be put into place. And so the student, a 5-year-old, taught Ms. Earnhardt how to breathe by going up and down your fingers. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And if this 5-year-old, he understands the strategy, he's been taught it somewhere along the way, if we can help him remember to use that strategy in the moment, we're not setting him up for just success in kindergarten, but we're setting him up for success as a citizen in our society. We will look at our monthly office referrals for kindergarten students, and we believe that we will see a decrease in referrals related to self-regulation by doing this. Our kindergarten teachers are committed to teaching the 5-point scale at least 3 times per week, using it throughout the day in conversations to solve problems, modeling it themselves when they face a problem, so that students can mimic and follow those behaviors. Our next goal, focusing on recruit, grow, retain, is to increase from 0% in September 2023 to 100% in May 2024 of our kindergarten through 2nd grade inclusion general education teachers feeling confident in their ability to meet the individual needs of students by using an in-house survey. We believe that we will retain teachers if they feel confident in what they're doing and then in their ability to make a difference in children's life. At Rocky River, we have a huge focus this year on ensuring that our students are in their least restricted environment, but we also must support the teachers in that movement. And so this goal aims to support our teachers. We have created an in-house survey used to measure their confidence. We believe that our lead measure, if we allow our general education inclusion teachers to have time with our specialized exceptional children teachers each week to reflect on different aspects of their day-to-day, that they will gain confidence in their ability to meet the needs of students with disabilities in their classroom. So this might just be, hey, this happened in my classroom, I responded like this, could I have done anything differently, or do I need to stay the course? And sometimes just having the safe space to have that conversation will increase that confidence so that the next time that happens, they know exactly that they're heading in the right direction with their students and that they are making a difference. This will also increase their sense of efficacy. And our final goal is focus on the culture of relationship. We want to increase participation of our new families attending a school event from 24% at the beginning of the year to 100% by May 2024. Last year, prior to myself moving over to Rocky River had 98% of their families participate in some event at some time during the school year at Rocky River, and that is phenomenal. So how can we build on that? Well, through the rezoning, we have many new families. We actually have 141, if I'm not mistaken, which is a whole cohort of new families due to rezoning or kindergarten families coming in or just movement within the community. We chose 100% because 100% of our families are valuable to us. We hope that by offering opportunities to join events on various days of the week, at various times throughout the week, and at different locations, including hopefully over at the library, which is very close to one of our new school zones, over with Mill Hill, if you will, and JC Circle, our new top of the V is how I say it on the town side, that it will break down some barriers of being able to get all the way back over to Rocky River with Mooresville traffic in the evening. Mooresville traffic is no joke sometimes. So this will take that barrier away for those new families. Also, just different times of the day. Some people are free in the morning and others are free at night and others are just never free. So maybe we need to open up some remote options. A lot of our Tier 3 meetings for academics have been remote options for our parents. But meeting our parents where they are and breaking down any barriers that we can to see them. And we've already begun gathering attendance of each event and then reflecting on that at every SIP meeting, but specifically quarterly. Questions? Y'all are tired, aren't you? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good evening. Save the best for last. No, I feel like we've had a really great process this year with our school improvement planning, and it's been a process that I've enjoyed working through and seeing the great alignment. So we will start out. So our first goal under Maximize Opportunity and Achievement is to increase DIBELS subtest scores for nonsense word fluency, words recoded correctly, from 55% in second grade based on the beginning of year data to 78% by May 2024. And we chose this particular goal and student group. We know that we are preparing our second grade students for third grade, and now we've had this transition with the restructuring of the schools. So we want those students to become fluent readers by the time, and by meeting this goal, that would indicate that 78% of our second grade students, they'll have the phonics skills needed. And we began with looking at individual students and found 56 specific students who weren't proficient, and our teachers said we can for sure grow 29 of those students, and that's how we came up with the 78%. We're going to be implementing the University of Florida Literacy Institute, the UFLI curriculum, in order to improve those decoding skills needed for reading proficiency. And we decided to choose for our lead measure a little bit different. We've done our instructional coaches and our reading specialists, I think, have had a tremendous impact with the implementation of this starting out the beginning of the school year. So they are going to complete 15 total walkthroughs per month, or 5 each, and during the UFLI instruction to monitor implementation and support teachers with their needs. And then our lag measure will be looking at that words recoded correctly on the nonsense word fluency subtest and reviewing that monthly data. And I'm really proud to say that right now we started out, and we're monitoring at all grade levels, but specifically for second grade, we started out with 55% proficient on beginning of year data. We are already at 75% proficient based on the beginning of year scores. And if we look at our projected growth and where they should be in order to reach their goal by end of year, then we have 65% proficient. So we've already grown 10% just based on our first quarter data. For safe, happy, and healthy environments, we want to reduce the percentage of students with an office referral from 15% in 2022-23 to 10% by May 2024. Looking at our office referral data, we are already significantly high, and that's based on some skewed data with several particular students who have real strong behavior needs. So we decided that we wanted to focus on the percentage of students due to this data. Now, we chose this goal because last year with our third grade, we had 75 out of 488 students with office referrals, which was the 15%. And we reduced our school population to 390, so we wanted to look at 39 students. And that would give us a 5% decrease for the year. We chose a little bit different strategy, not the 5-point scale. We've already implemented that in some ways in our building. We decided, from feedback from our MTSS and our behavior support team, that we wanted to develop a universal behavior tracker for students so they could set goals and track their personal progress towards meeting that goal to attend the monthly PBS reward parties. In the past, we've used Class Dojo, and they've set like an 80% threshold. We felt like that was way too not concrete enough for students, right? It was too abstract for them. So in conversations, when we looked and dived into that data, the classroom was the place where most of those issues were happening for minor incidents and office referrals. And it was things like disruptive behavior and insubordination. So we said, well, how can we capitalize on what we already have put in place with the positive, the PBIS supports? And so we wanted to create this accountability model and create a concrete tracker for the students. And so that's what we're doing. And our lead measure will be students completing that daily behavior tracking. And we recommended to the teachers that they don't do this in the afternoon at the end of the day, but in the morning the next day, so students, they can reflect with them on they had a great day yesterday, or we need a restart today. Let's think about some of those things. And it's almost like a little mini check-in with every single student first thing in the morning to help them get on the right track. And so it's that quick conversation that we feel like is the most valuable piece of this, not just the accountability with the students and being able to see their goal every single month and if they're reaching it. For Recruit, Grow, and Retain, we were looking at our teacher working conditions survey, specifically indicator 2.1, where teachers have time available to collaborate with colleagues. And we've been working on this a couple years now. It has decreased. It was 85% early on, about 6 years ago, and it gradually decreased to 76.67%. So we want to see that go back up. Our teachers have given us lots of feedback that they would like for that professional learning community time. They want more focused on collaboration, specifically on instruction. And they want support from our instructional coach, and they want support from admins. And we have a great PLC opportunity every week that we provided and built into the schedule, but they wanted deeper. So we wanted to really focus on the strategies that they're using, the curriculum, the standards, and be able to dive in deeper. We also have new teachers that have come in on each grade level, so this will give them an opportunity to work in a smaller pod versus the whole team and maybe feel a little bit more comfortable with those curriculum conversations. So the lead measure is that K-2 teachers will attend and participate in a 45-minute collaborative planning time in addition to their regular PLC time. And then we are going to monitor that monthly with exit ticket and tracking attendance that we actually held the meeting, that they had that protected time, and then be able to get feedback from them on what they're getting out of those PLCs and if it's what they particularly need. And we'll be measuring that at the end of year with our teacher working conditions survey. The final one under cultural relationships is to create a Friends of South advisory team that includes at least 8 parents from the community and members to spearhead community engagement initiatives at South by May 2024. So this year, since the restructuring of the district and rezoning of the school, we lost every bit of our parental support. So all of our school improvement team members, all of our PTSO board, we were wiped out. So we had to basically start from scratch coming in. And so the other factor for South is we have the highest mobility rate in the district. We're at a 32% mobility rate, right? So there's a lot of families coming in, a lot of families going out. And since COVID, we have not had that leadership support with parents that they are really inputting and advising us on what they need for the students and what they want to see South bring to the community of the school. So that's where we want to start, is developing that leadership and encourage them and increase parent engagement in the school, and that be community-driven and led. So I'm reaching out to send a personalized message to these friends before our SIT team meetings, before our PTSO board meetings, before our All-Pro Dad meetings, because I feel like it's important as a brand new principal for me to make those personal connections with parent leadership and empower them. And then we're going to be tracking the number of Friends of South that are attending those leadership meetings and providing input to us. We've already had in the September and October meetings 9 adults show up and leaders, and they really are truly advising us, which I love. And we want to continue that and grow that. And we don't want it to decline throughout the year like we've seen in past, but like grow it throughout the year and continue to sustain at least that those 8 parents and develop important to them. What questions do you have for me? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's exciting to see the school improvement plans aligning with the strategic plan and all the hard work that everyone is doing. The benefit to all this is what's not lost on you or the children that each one of you guys look after every day. And that's who's going to benefit. And then we're going to benefit as a result of their benefiting. So thank you very, very much. It is now time for...
In a motion to approve those school improvement plans, so, with the exception of Mooresville Middle School.
It is not time to go into closed session. We have had the opportunity to hear the 9 school improvement plans by each individual school for the 2023-2024 school year. I will entertain a motion for approval of said plans.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the school improvement plans as presented to us this evening.
And I second that motion.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the school.
Chairman, I'll just make one suggested modification. Mooresville Middle School has to bring theirs back a second time. That's part of the low performing process. So if you guys are willing to change that to all the school improvement plans minus Mooresville Middle School coming back.
Absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely. With that modification of Mooresville Middle School coming back, we have a motion and a second to approve those plans for the 2023-2024 school year. All those in favor, vote with the usual signs.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Thank you guys for everything. They were great.
Yes, absolutely.
It is now time for the board to go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 A6 and A3 to discuss personnel and consult with the board attorney. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we go to closed session for those reasons stated.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. If I could write quicker. Motion and a second to go into closed session. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
It won't be easy. You'll think it's strange when I try to explain how I feel.
One month ago today, I was happy as a lark. But now I go for walks, to the movies, maybe to the park. I have a seat on the same old bench to watch the children play. You know, tomorrow is their future. But for me, just another day. They all gather around me. They seem to know my name. We laugh, tell a few jokes, but it still doesn't ease my pain. I know I can't hide from a memory, though day after day I've tried. I keep saying she'll be back, but today again I've lied.
Oh, I see her face everywhere I go, on the street and even at the picture show. Have you seen her? Tell me, have you seen her? Oh, I hear her voice as the cold winds blow in the sweet music on my radio. Have you seen her? Tell me, have you seen her? Woo!